Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. The objective of today's show is this. We're going to talk about the latest Raiders news and the latest Raiders rumors. We're going to be talking a lot about Matthew Stafford. In fact, if you haven't already answered that question at the very top, would you want the Raiders to trade for Stafford? Let me know down below. And here's the thing, since we've been hearing so much speculation around the Raiders potentially making a deal for the Rams quarterback, I put together a perfect offseason plan. I'm going to tell you, if I was in the same room with Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, John Spyrtek, Tom Brady, heck, Tom, if you want to invite me also randomly to your house in Montana, I don't know how to ski, but damn it, I would try. Hey, the invite's out there. But I'm going to tell you what I would do from a free agency, what I would do from a draft standpoint if the Raiders go out and get somebody like Matthew Stafford. Then we're going to talk about some of the top running back, wide receiver prospects to look at the Combine, because I want to keep this segment going throughout the entirety of the week. I got an update from somebody at the Combine on Malcolm Koonce. We'll talk about that. Could the Raiders potentially trade for somebody not named Matthew Stafford? We'll talk about that. And if you're looking for every single Combine meeting that Las Vegas had, because at this current moment, based on what has been reported to me and our Chat Sports team at the Combine, I can tell you that 21 players have met with the Raiders, and we'll go through all those names coming up here on today's show. The other objective today is to make sure that Brandon Jasper is smiling down and to make sure that everybody here has a damn good day. And I know this, you better be ready for Tuna Happy Hour. We're going to be doing things that I've never done before, and I know that Brandon wouldn't be mad at me if I was drinking Happy Dads today. So guess what? No Happy Dads, only beer. We got some Fireball. We got some tequila. So if you're a parent watching the show with your kid and you don't want them to see me get a little bit wet and wild, you probably shouldn't watch the last hour, 90 minutes of this show. If you just want to see all Raiders content, that's what the first 90 minutes of this bad boy is going to be. 3 segments to get through, and then it's Tuna Happy Hour. Raider Raw, what's going on, my man? I agree with Zahn. Kristen is today's MVP, man. Kristen, you're good. That was, I think, yesterday or the one that we got on Tuesday. But Raider Nation, LFG, Raider Run, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'll go through all the deals with you guys once we get into the Tuna Happy Hour because, again, I want to sit up to a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365, but the difference of today's right from the jump for Brandon Jasper. I'm also going to, who obviously has been dealing with a lot of stuff. That was Brandon's significant needs that money. Going to send that amount of money to the Jasper family, to Kristen on Venmo as well. So today is all about showing love to the people that help us continuously do this thing and to show love because we are family, no doubt about it. So whatever the winner gets today, I am also going to send that money to Kristen and to Brandon Jasper's family. Let's get some RIPs down below, though, for the great Tuna. What up, Blinky? Obviously, if you guys want to get some Raiders questions in, please don't be afraid to do so. Rest in paradise, Tuna, although I'm saying his name, so he's still around somewhere. Godspeed. And that's all I want people to do. Keep on living the great name of Brandon Jasper, a diehard Raiders fan. Mount Raidermore, unfortunately, passed away on Tuesday. But we always are going to rock for our brother. And I promise you, you're going to hear his name 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You're going to hear the name Tuna. So if you want to shout out here on the Raiders Report, spam Tuna down below. We're going to show some love. I already see Blinky, Mike24, Jay Ray, Rafael Murillo, Taino Raider. What's up, my dog? King Shah, Benthrak, I see you down there. Big Luck, Jose Gonzalez, Steven Gutierrez, Miguel Gomez. What up, Gutierrez? Tuna chilling with Al Davis, watching some Raiders Report. I'm not kidding you. I had that exact same thought process, Steven, and I don't know if you said it because of my shirt. I usually wear this shirt for special occasions, and I'm like, again, Al is to me is the GOAT of the Raiders. He is the greatest of all time. And I had that exact same thought today where I was like, dude, He's just up there chilling right now with John Madden, all the Raiders GOATs, Al Davis watching down on the Raiders Report. Gutierrez, cheers to you, my man.
Jasper coming in, and him and Al Davis are like, yo, I can't believe the Raiders went with AOC and Gardner Minshew this past year.
I mean, I guarantee you, as soon as Brandon walked through the gates, Al was like, dude, what the hell was that?
They both looked at each other and they're like, dude, F Josh McDaniels.
The first thing, they're probably like, Mitch should have went live for 27 hours. 26 is kind of lame. I will tell you this, if the Raiders end up trading for Matthew Stafford, I don't know how long I will be live for, but we're going to be live for a very, very long time.
Speaking of Matthew Stafford.
Speaking of Mr. Stafford, do you want the Raiders to trade for him? Give me a yes, give me a no. I will tell you this, trading for Stafford means that you're probably going to have to pay him about $50 million per year. However, though, you're not going to have to give up your first-round pick. You're not going to have to give up pick 6. I mean, quite frankly, when you hear some of the rumors that are coming out from the Combine, it might not even cost your second-round pick. Now, it might be like a second. Raiders also have to give up a 5th, and then in return, you might get another pick on the back end of it. But I don't even know if it's going to cost you a second, because from what it sounds like, Matthew Stafford wants a new deal. The Rams are trying to plan for the future a little bit. And he's still a top 10 quarterback. But I also wonder if Sean McVay is so confident in himself that he goes, I can make a quarterback out of anyone. And, that's the reason why I'm not going to go out and trade for Matthew Stafford. So give me a yes, give me a no. What are we thinking about? Should the Raiders trade for Stafford? Big Luck says yes, he would be a perfect bridge quarterback, which I'm not going to lie to you. I totally agree with that statement as well.
I was talking to one of our buddies who's actually at the Combine, Marshall Green, and he was saying from everything that he's hearing there in Indy that very likely that Stafford's either a Raider or a Giant.
I mean, today, and the only reason why I think that Stafford, again, there was one thing that really happened big today at the Combine, and some of our guys were kind of relaying it to us, and it was, right now there's a lot of buzz that the Giants and Titans could be working on a trade for the Giants to move up to number 1. And because a lot of the speculation was it's a two-headed race right now for Stafford between the Raiders and between the New York Giants, from what we gathered, that was the two-headed race. That was 24 hours ago. Today, a lot of the conversation was around the Giants potentially trading up to number 1, which I'm a believer of where there's smoke, there's fire. You got to look at those tea leaves. There was a big rumor that happened yesterday. Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, Montana. Whether it was on purpose or whether it was on accident, I'm going to just say it was an accident. And again, no tampering issues there. The Raiders aren't going to get in trouble because Matthew Stafford's agent approved Stafford to meet with Tom Brady. So, this is where, you can believe Rapoport if you want. I'm going to believe Jordan Schultz because everybody on the planet should believe Jordan Schultz. Not saying that what Rap was given was bad information, but it's I would say the information Rap was given was the information that you look at your kids and you go, yep, that dollar was from the Tooth Fairy. And Rapoport reported, that dollar that I got was actually indeed from the Tooth Fairy and not my parents.
Wow.
That's what Ian Rapoport essentially did.
Not Raider news, but somewhat Raider news.
I'm listening.
The Buccaneers are reinstating John Gruden into their Ring of Honor after removing him in 2021.
Wow.
The family was moved at the celebration of life for Monty Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin actually gave a speech talking about second chances. And they said that led to them reaching back out to Gruden and basically I think it also has to do a lot with, his social image has skyrocketed over the past 12 months.
John Gruden will be on the Buccaneers sideline in some capacity next season. Mark my words. I'm telling you what, we've been hearing a lot of interesting stuff, and this is one of the cool parts when you send your team down or up to Indianapolis for the Combine. John Gruden's going to be a Buccaneers coach or working with that organization in some way or another, because you don't do that unless there's some stuff happening. And I don't know if y'all have seen the Buccaneers. They lost a lot of pieces this offseason. Gruden's going to be on that team. I don't know if it's going to be in 2025, but it might be in 2026.
Dude,
so again,
he can't help himself.
Can't help himself. Coming up here live on the Raiders Report, we got 3 segments to get through. And again, if you want to get in the duck race, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. And then probably about 90 minutes from now, we're going to get into a Tuna happy hour. And I'm going to go balls to the wall for 60 minutes to maybe 90 minutes. I'm going to give you the best effort that I possibly got. Quite frankly, I don't know if I've ever given an effort like the effort that you're going to see in about 90 minutes from now. It's not going to be pretty. I'm going to look like it's fourth quarter Mitch after the Raiders just beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. But Brandon Jasper deserves it. I've been preparing my body for it. I ate a lot of food today. I'm ready to rock and roll, and I'm going to go balls to the wall for Brandon Jasper, and I hope that y'all do the same with me. Chugs, let's get into the first segment coming up here on the show, and it's going to be around some of the meetings that the Raiders had today. Also some news that I got from Malcolm, or not from Malcolm Koonce, but on Malcolm Koonce. And then also a player that the Raiders could potentially trade for. We're going to talk about all of that. That's going to be coming up here on today's show. Also, running back, wide receiver, combine prospects to watch. And then a Matthew Stafford perfect offseason plan.
There we go.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. This one's going to be fun. This one's going to be a lot of fun, which I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm only drinking beer today. Though Miller Lite's not my favorite. Miller Lite, I can remember many, many months ago when it was like Zahn, Brandon, myself. I want to say Sienna Cauley might have been on that one. We had a bunch of people that tuned in, and Brandon was giving me a lot of shit for drinking Happy Dads and not drinking beers because him and Zahn always drink beers. So today I said, you know what, for Tuna, we're going to be drinking beers today, and we're going to be having a good time while we do it. The best beer is Corona from Big Luck. I don't know about that.
I like a Corona.
I mean, I like a good Corona, but to me, Corona is a beach beer. And sometimes maybe I'm a little bit too ridiculous with certain beers that I drink.
I will say
a casual beer, Dos Equis.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like Dos is where I usually go.
Like a Dos, a good Modelo. Those are like, I would rather drink a Modelo than a Miller Lite. Or I would rather drink a Modelo than a Corona. If I drink a Corona, absolutely it's got to have a lime in it. And there's a 90% chance that I'm on a beach.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's probably not going to happen.
Right. Can we get to 120 likes?
Let's go. Let's run it up.
111.
Let's run it up, man.
We need 9 likes to start the show.
I just got 5 people in the duck race, which means it is a $20 Venmo. Right now, as it stands, you would go home with $70, I believe is what that math checks out, which also means I am sending $70 to Brandon Jasper's family. That's how that's going to go today. When you guys want to participate in the duck race, somebody's going to win some money, and then every person that gets in the duck race today, I'm sending money to Brandon Jasper's family. That's how that's going to go today. So hopefully everybody gets in, everybody participates, and we're going to have some fun today. You ready? Y'all ready? Let's do this one for Brandon. Get some BJs down below. Coming up, some news, rumors that the nation needs to see. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to go through all the players that the Las Vegas Raiders have met with at the NFL Combine. I will also say the players that you're going to hear are the names that have been confirmed to me through our Chat Sports team at the Combine. There is a chance that Las Vegas has met with a few other players, but I'm just going to go through the 21 names that I know for a fact that the Raiders have met with. Also, could Las Vegas potentially trade for somebody that's on the block? Because there's a lot of connections here. And then I did get some really interesting Malcolm Koonce news from the Combine. And if you want Koonce to come back, you need to watch till the end of the video. If you're looking for Combine news and updates, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. I don't know if you all have realized how many videos the Raiders Report has put out over the past 72 hours this entire week. This is why I want all of y'all to rock with me this week, because this year we're going to blow the roof off this joint bigger than we have ever had before. And I promise you, there's a lot of other Raiders content creators, and I'm always going to give them their flowers, but we're about to really separate ourselves this season. So what we're going to be doing throughout the entirety of today's show is I'm going to be breaking down these combine meetings that the Raiders have had. Before that I do that, though, I obviously got to talk about the number one thing that's been being talked about in Raider circles, and it's all the rumors around Matthew Stafford and the trade rumors. Well, there was some conflict at a Starbucks yesterday between Ian Rapoport, Jordan Schultz about whether or not Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, how they ended up meeting. Here's what we know. Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady met in Montana. Whether you want to say it was a coincidence or whether you want to think that it was planned, all I care about is the Raiders. And all I care about is that we also don't get in trouble. And it was confirmed today that the Raiders are not going to get in trouble because Matthew Stafford's agent approved Stafford to go out and meet with Tom Brady. So because the Rams gave his agent the okay, it's all good. We're Raiders. We're not going to get in trouble. So far, the combine meetings, I'm going to go through this by position because it's the easiest way for me personally to be able to keep track of it. So far, the quarterbacks that I know for a fact that Las Vegas has met with, one of the names, Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas. I'm not crazy about Ewers, but there's a lot of talent there. Shedeur Sanders, this one is an obvious one. Tom Brady's had a lot of connections with the quarterback out of Colorado. Cam Ward. There has been some rumors this week that the Raiders could potentially trade up to number 1 with the Tennessee Titans, though some of the rumors that we have heard today from the Chat Sports team, the Giants now have been sniffing around number 1 pick a little bit more, and I think it's because I think Matthew Stafford's going to be a Raider, y'all. Another name, Kyle McCord. This is probably my favorite day 3 quarterback that the Raiders could potentially get. This is somebody else who the Las Vegas Raiders have met with at the Combine. Let's go to the next position here that I got for my team. It's defensive tackle, and the only name that I know of so far that they have met with is Mason Graham, the number 1 defensive tackle on the board, probably going to be a top 5 pick in this year's draft. If he's available at number 6, you got to consider it as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to the linebacker position. This has been a spot that I know the Raiders have been paying a lot more closer attention to, which maybe surprises you, maybe it doesn't. Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, both free agents. Jackson Woodward from UNLV, he met with the Raiders, 135 tackles, which that's incredible. Also, when you look at a lot of combine meetings, you should also try to put 2 and 2 of maybe some of these players could be top 30 visits as well. Jackson Woodward is not going to be a top 30 visit because you're allowed to visit with players locally, and because he's UNLV, the Raiders aren't going to get charged in that top 30 visit. Carson Schweisinger, one of my favorite linebacker prospects from UCLA. I know he looks like somebody in Remember the Titans who's playing quarterback, but this guy's a legit player. Danny Stutzman, another linebacker here from Oklahoma at 6'4", 241. Cody Simon from Ohio State. We know that the Raiders are going to be looking at a lot of Buckeye players. Pete Carroll had some interesting things to say in his press conference on Tuesday about Ohio State, and I'm going to be just paying a little bit more closer attention to that player, or I guess I was going to call it that organization, but I'm going to be paying closer attention to Ohio State. What about some edge rushers here? Want to be able to dominate in the trenches, want to be able to get after the quarterback. Some of the edges that Las Vegas met with, Mike Green. This is a legit top 15 prospect. Brandon Swinson from LSU is somebody else who they were able to meet with. 8.5 sacks last season in the SEC. JT, I can never get it right. Tuimoloa, who I really, really liked, and I think a lot of people that watched a lot of our college football watch parties that we did, there was a lot of Buckeye games, obviously. JT was definitely a player that we kept an eye on. Jack Sawyer as well, though they have not met with Jack Sawyer according to our sources at Chat Sports. Let's go to the cornerback room now here for Las Vegas, and Will Johnson was somebody that they met with, and Johnson had some interesting things to say about the Raiders, spoke very highly of Pete Carroll, said that it's a good organization. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame, he ended up meeting with the Raiders. Jahdae Barron, who's somebody that's really, really climbing some boards, where if you're looking for versatility and you want to be able to find a corner that you can just put in certain situations, or corner/safety, do-it-all type of player hybrid, Jahdae Barron's climbing some boards, y'all. One of my personal favorite prospects, Siobhan Revel Jr., 6'3", 193 from ECU, small school guy, got hurt this season. If he tests well, he's going to be a potential to go in round 1. Trey Amos, another corner. This guy coming in from Ole Miss, 13 PBUs last season for the Rebels. Kobe Bryant. I know, different, but it's always R.I.P. Kobe. 6', 175 out of Kansas. He ended a meeting with the Las Vegas Raiders. And then let's go to the safeties position. Now, in terms of the players that the Raiders have met with, I know the quarterbacks are the only ones that really haven't, we'll say, truly like interviewed like other positions have, but the quarterbacks are always going to get a little bit more attention. Malachi Starks, the top safety in this year's class, he ended up meeting with the Raiders. Malachi Moore, I did put out a video this morning on our YouTube channel about the interview that the Chat Sports team had with Moore. He said that he had a good visit with the Raiders, and again, Stu said it was a good organization, and every player is always going to say, yeah, it was cool to talk to them. Xavier Watts, this is another one of my favorite prospects at the safety position. 6 foot, 200 pounds, 83 tackles, 6 interceptions, 9 PBUs for the Fighting Irish last year. He was definitely somebody that I love as a prospect. So I was happy that the Raiders were able to go out and they were able to meet with him. I got that text message, though, really early this morning that the Raiders ended up meeting with Xavier Watts. So those are all the names that have been confirmed to me and the Chat Sports team that have met with the Las Vegas Raiders from the NFL Combine. If you didn't know any of those, I hope that's another reason why you click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because we are going to be putting in a lot of work this entire week at the Combine. And if you're just getting a little bit of a taste of what we're doing for the Combine, wait till you see what we do for free agency. Wait till you see what we do for the NFL Draft. Wait till you see what we do in the entire offseason. Coming up, though, a player that the Raiders could potentially trade for. I'll tell you who that is in just a moment. But you know what I've been trying to do? I've been trying to get into better shape because I don't want to get traded before my wedding. And I've been trying to eat healthier. So huge shout out to our sponsor here, Factor, for trying to help me be the best version of myself. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Alex and I, we use Factor every single week, and it's great for meal prep when you're a really busy person. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a busy dude. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST. That's FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Huge shout out to Factor for sponsoring the Raiders Report and for helping me and Alex not have to make food every single time we come home from a busy workday. I mean, it's one of the last things I feel like doing. I want to get home. I want to snuggle with Chuck. I want to put something good on TV. I want to relax. I don't want to have to cook, and I definitely don't want to have to clean. In fact, it helps me with that every single day. So who's a player that the Raiders could potentially trade for? I think it could potentially be Patriots defensive tackle Davon Godchaux. And I know how it's spelled. It's a wild spelling, and I'm going to do my best because every time I look at it, I almost want to sneeze looking at that last name. But he was been given permission from the Patriots to seek a trade, and the reason why I think that this could end up going down is because maybe it could be a potential replacement for Adam Butler. It's not going to cost all that much money, but at the end of the day, it's about the connection. And Godchaux's got a lot of connections with this current Las Vegas Raiders regime. When you look at his numbers over the past 4 seasons, he's just been a reliable, big-bodied guy up the middle. And quite frankly, That's all I really need. I'm not looking for a potential starter in Godchaux. I'm essentially looking for a depth position guy, maybe a John Jenkins type of replacement, because we already got Wilkins. We already got Max Crosby. I want to see what Tyree Wilson's going to do. The Raiders are going to add an edge. This is more of just a little bit of depth. He played 680 snaps last season for New England, and he's getting up there in age. He's 31 years old. The numbers aren't all that spectacular. But if you need a big body mover that's got some relationships on this Raiders team, he's somebody that you could at least just keep in mind. So anytime I talk about a player, I want to start doing a better job of, it's easy to talk about a rumor. It's easy to just mention the name and say the Raiders could bring him in, because the Raiders could bring in anybody this year. That's what happens when you have almost $100 million in salary cap space. So the first thing that you got to think about is, what exactly would it cost, right? Everybody here under the sun would be like, yeah, I would love to trade for Matthew Stafford if it cost a 7th-round pick and if you could pay him 1.2. But that's just not the truth. That's not what it's going to cost. For Godchaux, I believe it's going to end up costing not a lot on the trade market. In terms of dollars and bills, if the Raiders make this move, you owe him $4 million in 2025. He's got 2 years left on his contract, but he's got $0 million guaranteed. So if you're Las Vegas, 31 years old, you could potentially get him for $4 million in 2025, and it doesn't cost you a lot to trade to go get him. Because to me personally, when you look at the trade projection, I sat down and I talked to multiple people here at Chat Sports. I talked to some people at the NFL Combine, and I also talked to our Patriots host here at Chat Sports, and I said, what do you think it would end up costing? And this is the answer that I got. A 7th-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Essentially, New England wants to move on. They want more draft capital. Mike Vrabel's trying to bring in his own young guys. He's 31 years old. So instead of just saying we're going to have to cut him and get nothing, you get at least something for him. So if it's a 7th-round pick at $4 million in 2025 that you could potentially move on from in 2026, it's at least giving you a good option at a cheap option from depth. And then the connection. There is a lot of connections here. And we know that Pete Carroll, John Spyrtek, they want to be able to build this thing, and they want to be able to have some continuity. Also, Max Crosby really talked about, being able to keep the same players on the defensive line. If you do lose a Adam Butler, or if you do lose a John Jenkins, I do think that Godchaux could be an interesting replacement for one of those players. He played with Rob Leonard in 2019 and 2020. That's a good thing for me. I would say he had arguably the best year of his career back in 2019, many years ago. I get it. But that's when Patrick Graham was the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. He also played with Christian Wilkins in 2019 and in 2020. It's not a back-breaking type of move, and it's not a move that's going to be the reason why we win a Super Bowl. But if you want to have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, you need to have players that when you put them out there, if Wilkins needs a breather, you know that they're going to be able to get the job done. Should the Raiders trade for Patriots defensive tackle Davon Godchaux, type T for trade, type P for pass, you get to call the shots here. Let me know your answers down below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, guess what? You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. I would say I would rather re-sign Adam Butler. If the Raiders looked at me and they said, Mitch, you can either trade for Godchaux or re-sign Adam Butler, I'm going to re-sign Adam Butler, and I would even be more willing to pay Butler even more than I'd be willing to pay Davon, right? But if he's somebody that we want to replace John Jenkins with, Jenkins still might be at a little bit of a higher level, though I would love to see what Davon's able to do with our defensive line coach and Rob Leonard. And if you're able to bring him in a younger version than Jenkins at 6'3", 330 pounds, I just need a space eater. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to eat up space. He's going to take on double teams. And he's somebody that with 67 tackles, I think that he just does so much of the dirty work over and over and over that people don't always appreciate what he brings to the table. The New England Patriots have been a dumpster fire the past few seasons. Coming up next here on the show, let's talk about the latest around Malcolm Koonce. Our team at Chat Sports has been working unbelievably hard the entire week, and we did get a really good scoop on Malcolm, so I'm going to share that here in just a moment. If you don't know what our February Bang leaderboard looks like, 93 Nabman is in the lead. Yoda Jenkins, followed by It's Fun to Stay at the LCA, Ryan Campbell, and then Bennett Kuchka. Right now, here are our top five. I also got to give a shout out to our January MVP and newest member of Mount Raidermore, my guy, Ventrac. Bang. Ventrac, where you at, my man? Seriously, though, shout out to everybody that always rocks with us on this show. And I mean it. It never goes unnoticed. At the end of the day, I like to do this thing like an Oakland tailgate, so hopefully people have a good time when they watch this show. And as always, R.I.P. to the great Brandon Jasper. Let's talk about Malcolm Koonce and is he potentially returning to Las Vegas at the NFL Combine. It said this: he is a priority for the Raiders this off-season. Patrick Graham and Rob Leonard have been vocal about keeping him, and they're doing everything in their power to try to convince this current regime to bring him back. Pete Carroll also, from what I was told, understands the importance of bringing back Malcolm Koonce. And it's kind of frustrating because when you look at what people might give him on the open market, I want the best for Malcolm. I really do. And I think everybody that watches the show, you have to root for Koonce because the moment he came out of the draft, out of Buffalo, small school guy, had a lot of ups and downs, but 2023 was his best year, especially those final 9 games. I mean, if I can get that final 9 games from Malcolm, that's somebody that deserves to get paid $20 million per year. Though he hasn't had a lot of stuff happen in his career. He missed all of 2024, so it's going to come down to the contract. Pete Carroll wants to bring him back. The Raiders want to bring him back. But if Malcolm's looking and hearing what is out there via Spyrtek, via PFF, and if they're telling his agent he's going to be able to get $18 to $20 million a year, I can't get mad at him for getting his bag. And I can't help him. I can't get mad at it. But at the same time, I do this show for the Raiders, and I give you my honest opinion on what I think from players. I know what Spyrtek and PFF is projecting. To me, the deal, if he ends up coming back to Las Vegas, based on some of the things that I've heard and just based on me projecting, I think it looks a lot closer to 2 years, 24, with 24 fully guaranteed. He's going to want some guarantees, but he's also wants to play with Rob Leonard. He also wants to play with Patrick Graham. He wants to stay in Las Vegas, but he also wants to get paid. If we're willing to offer him a fully guaranteed contract, we might be able to get him cheaper on a per-year basis. This also allows him hit the open market again at, I believe, 27 years old, where that could lead to a really big-time payday for Malcolm Koonce. So again, appreciate everyone that's tuning in. If you want more news and updates around the Raiders, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. A lot of content coming from the Chat Sports team because we are at the NFL Combine. Let's go to J-Row. What up, my man? To the window, to the J-Row. Mitch, this is the most important question right now. If we get Stafford, who's wearing 9 with Tyree still there? I'll tell you this right now. It's Matthew Stafford. Stafford also has the money to be able to pay Tyree Wilson to go get that number. But also, I think Tyree, right now, he's probably looking at number 7 because that was Trevon Merrick. Trevon Merrick is a free agent, and Wilson wore 7 in college.
So a little just switcheroo.
A little bit of switcherooski.
What happens if you re-sign Merrick?
Quite frankly,
27.
Wilson's got to figure it out.
25.
Nah, see, I feel like Tyree will. A good number for Wilson.
Oh, no, I was saying for Merrick. You're like, you got to go back to your OG.
You got to put him back at 25?
Yeah.
See, I feel like Merrick would be like, wait a minute here. I'm not coming back unless I can wear 7.
Oh, yep, that makes sense.
Unless I can wear 7. But, I mean, it would be Matthew Stafford. And I even think Tyree Wilson would be more than happy to give up his jersey number, right? And as much as I have a good relationship with Wilson, him and I talk probably a few times a month from time to time. Again, he lives down here in this area. He's working his freaking tail off, but at the same time, he's one of those dudes that if you're trying to get a deal done and you need a little bit of a cherry on top, Tyree Wilson could be a player that the Raiders could potentially throw in. High draft pedigree. Has been a little bit rocky, obviously, his first 2 seasons in the NFL. But if you're a Sean McVay, you look at a player like Tyree Wilson, you go, I can do something special with that. What up, Nick Sanchez? Say we get Stafford. Do we draft a quarterback? If so, then who? I'll admit, all offseason, I've really thought that the Raiders, no matter what, are going to sign a quarterback and that they are going or sign or trade for a QB and then also draft one. I'll admit now, if you make the deal for Stafford, if this was up to me, I would look for a quarterback on day 3, like a Kyle McCord. Personally, I think it would be a good value there because the offense that you would instill, okay, the offense that you would try to get going, if you go out and you trade for Stafford, that's probably a very similar offense to one that Aiden O'Connell would try to run. And then I would also want to be able to have a quarterback that could potentially learn that system. You're trading for Stafford, though, for him to be your quarterback for at least 2 seasons, right? So knowing that he's going to be the guy for 2 seasons, it doesn't really make sense to draft a quarterback high if you know that they're going to sit probably for 2 years. Where if you draft somebody that's got an immense upside, like a Jalen Milroe, like Kyle McCord does have a lot of upside, and then you could let that quarterback learn for 2 years, they could also just go out and sign Zach Wilson, which I'm telling you right now, a lot of smoke around the Raiders adding Zach Wilson, and I don't love the idea of adding Wilson. Obviously, if it's Zach Wilson as the backup and let him compete with Aiden O'Connell because you traded for Matthew Stafford, that's a really good quarterback room, and I like that idea. If it's to sign Zach Wilson with Aiden and then hope you get a quarterback in the draft, that plan scares the absolute bejesus out of me. What up, Raider Muerte? Sending in the good vibes. Muerte. Appreciate you, my dog. James K. MG at 6. Round 2. Mason Graham at 6. Watts, the safety from Notre Dame in round 2. Noel, he's a cornerback, which I talked about him a little bit yesterday. He's somebody that I like in round 3. And then also Tate Rutledge, the guard from Georgia in round 3. I think that that's a really solid start to a draft. I do. I would say this is a really, really good start to a draft if Matthew Stafford is your quarterback. Because if you still don't have a QB, I don't love this. But if Stafford is your guy, even if you go out and you sign somebody like a Sam Darnold, I still think that this is a really good start. I would want the Raiders to maybe potentially sign a tackle or draft a tackle. I know the Raiders like DJ Glaze, but I also think that they're just doing a lot of saying the right things right now. Yeah. Like, Glaze is a good player, but if you could upgrade, you got to try to upgrade, especially at a tackle position.
I have heard some very differing opinions on Tate Rutledge as well.
Sure.
There's some people that really like him, and there's some people that don't think he's the best.
I mean, I had a source at the NFL Combine tell me, for a team that drafted Alex Leatherwood, you should be really scared of Tate Rutledge. And I was told that because sometimes offensive linemen, when you're on a really good school and you're just in a really dominant offensive line, you don't really get exposed. And Alex Leatherwood looked like a legit pro at Alabama, but he was playing on an entire NFL pro offensive line stacked with all these pros around him, and it just made his job a lot easier. So then when he went to the NFL, it was kind of like, well, wait a minute. What the hell am I looking at here? I do know this. I gotta confirm this. I did get a really interesting text message the other day, and it was a Georgia offensive lineman. Oh, Xavier Truss. Mm-hmm. Xavier Truss said, "Get me back with Brock Bowers."
He messaged you that?
I can't confirm or deny that, but all I know is that I have a message that says, "Get me back with Brock Bowers." So for a second, I was like, was that him? Rebel, I believe in Joe Hendry. I tried to do it. I tried.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Today, I believe in Tuna. I may fall asleep during the stream while battling flu-like symptoms. I'm still trucking, so play on.
Wait.
I'll tell you what, right now, there's a lot to digest in there.
Pull
over.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to fall asleep, don't make sure you're not driving.
He's like, I thought this was a Tesla.
He's like, I might.
I put it in self-driving mode. Little did I know I don't have self-driving mode. Come on, Rebel.
Dude, that's what cruise control is for.
Yeah. Cruise control, though, I think is one of the worst inventions ever.
Oh, I love it.
I hate it.
What do you mean?
If people just get lazy.
Dude, have you never been on a road trip like
have.
Dude, long road trip, you're on a straight highway, not making an exit for another 200 miles?
Sure.
Oh, dude, every time I'm driving from Dallas back home to Houston,
I guess I just haven't driven in so long, but I did used to use cruise control when I would drive on Route 80. And Route 80 in Pennsylvania, I mean, it literally goes from Pennsylvania all the way over to California, and it's a straight shot. I mean, It is one of the most boring rides of your life. That, I guess, is okay to use cruise control. Especially if you're a trucker. What up, Rich Wolf? You've probably driven more in this week, Rebel, than I have in the last 10 years. I mean, I might not be out of the realm of possibility. Rich, Stafford would be it. Wait, I think it's Stafford would be it in Chugs. I want y'all first round. Not quite sure. I mean, it's not going to cost a first round pick. To go out and get Matthew Stafford, it's not going to cost you a first round pick. It's not going to happen.
I don't get the lot. Are you saying you want to take me in the first round?
I'm trying to figure it out myself. Sounds like Rich Wolf got his weekend started a little bit early. Let's go to Armando. What do you think of this? Raiders do the trade for Matthew Stafford, but give up their second and third from the Packers. All right, so pick 73. Trade back only a few spots to a team that can, at minimum, give up their first this year and a second round this year.
So basically you're saying trade for Stafford and then trade back in the first round to recoup those same picks.
Yes. I don't think that that's a terrible idea at all. I'm not going to lie. I think that that would be a smart thing to do. I also am a believer that when you look at how the Raiders draft picks look, like if you're Las Vegas, and I know that nobody wants to give up the number 37 pick, the second round pick, but if you're Las Vegas, you're sitting there and you got 2 third-rounders, a pick 68 and a pick there at 73, and you have 3 sixth-round picks. You can use some of those 6 to potentially move up, and I don't know if you're going to be able to get in the second round, but you might be able to package 2 6 and a third to help you get back into the back end of round 2. The Raiders, though, have 10 total draft picks. So, yes, moving on from round 2 sucks, but if it gets you a franchise quarterback and a top 10 QB, even if he's a fringe top 12, he gives you the best chance to compete for a Super Bowl. I will never understand why a Raiders fan wouldn't want Las Vegas to trade for Matthew Stafford. But this is the right thought process, Armando.
And, Rich Wolf was saying he wants my Rockets in the first round. He wants Rockets Warriors.
Oh, all right.
He was saying.
So we weren't close.
Yeah, not
even the same sport. Victoria, what about Stafford and trade down for Dart? To me, I'm not like, if you make the move for Stafford, I am somebody that believes it's going to take at least 2 years of development for Jackson Dart, and if you're okay with doing that, that's fine. My only concern, though, for the Raiders is if I go out and trade for Stafford, that is the ultimate proof, and we already know that this is going to be a team that's trying to win now. They've said it 100 flipping times this offseason. If you go out and you make a deal for Stafford, I want every single draft pick, I want every single thing that we do in the offseason dedicated to trying to win right now. You can still, plan for some things down there in the background a little bit, but if you give up your second round pick, I think that means, you're saying trade down for Dart. I guess maybe you're talking about like the number 6 pick, but if you lose pick 37, you're going to have to use multiple other picks to try to go back up and go get Jackson Dart, who's going to go in the top 40. I'm telling you right now, he's going to go in the top 40, and I would want to be able to use some of those extra draft picks to be able to figure out ways that we can build around Stafford, because you're going to have to pay him a little bit more money, which might mean you might not be able to bring back an extra player in free agency, whether it's offense or defense, and I would want to use some of those extra draft picks. I think if you trade for Stafford, it makes me want to draft a quarterback so much less. Let's go to Gutierrez. What up, man? Stafford needs to think of the taxes he's got to pay in New York versus Vegas. Stafford knows. All these NFL players know the tax differentials and how much money they would make on top playing in a city like Miami, like Las Vegas on top of that.
Now I do wonder, since, Stafford, a lot of his family actually lives in the Dallas area. I wonder if, he played for, New York or somewhere, but his family lives somewhere else. Would he be able to?
I mean, they have multiple homes. Here's the thing. Where Matthew Stafford's from, it's Highland Park. It's basically where Jerry Jones lives, right? He's not hurting for money before he started playing football.
Yeah.
Right? To own a home in that neighborhood, I don't down here in Dallas, that's like Beverly Hills. And the houses aren't that big. But again, it's where some of those homes are 10, 15, $20 million homes in Highland Park. So for you to be able to live there, it's the richest of the rich. Now he's an NFL quarterback making all the money that he's making. He ain't hurting for money. He can have multiple houses.
He calls his parents mama and papa.
He's making money. Matthew Stafford, if he wanted, could have a $1 million home in every single state in the United States, including at Montana next to Tom Brady at the ski resort if he wanted to. I think he could, man. I think he could. Wouldn't even be a challenge, quite frankly. Wouldn't even be a challenge. Husker! Raider! Bang! Pour one up for the great Tuna. And you know what? I knew Tuna was an ass guy, though I gotta be honest. I am shocked that that's one beer. That's one beer.
The guys were saying it's the same size as a boot.
This is the same size as a boot?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Rebel Montana! Bang!
I'll take the false start penalty for happy hour. Say his name, and he appears. I believe in Big Tuna. As long as we don't get Rodgers, I'm okay with Stafford. I give Marianne the clearance to kick me in the jewels if we get Rodgers. I'd like to see that.
I mean, I can't believe. So somebody brought us this, and it's supposed to be a big-ass beer. That's 24 ounces right now. 24 ounces. That's, quite frankly, unbelievable. I will say this. Everybody that bangs here on today's show, we also have something special for you. But I want to save it for the Tuna Happy Hour. Hey, what up, Benthrak? Can you read that while I take this down?
1, much love to the great Tuna, RIP to a legend. 2, am I the only one who thinks paying a 37-year-old bridge quarterback $40 million a year is a huge risk? This roster is not one Matthew Stafford away from a Super Bowl. That money could buy 3 quality starters at other positions. I see what you mean there, Vinthrak, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback. So it's like if you get those 3, good starters, but then your quarterback is still Aiden O'Connell, then it didn't really matter.
What if I told you Matthew Stafford's cap hit will be less than $25 million? Because I think it's going to be less than $25 million, and the reason why that I say that is when Stafford wants guarantees, okay? The Raiders have extra cashola. Just going to tell you that because I know that they do. And when Matthew Stafford signs his deal, it's going to be, I'm telling you, somewhere around $100 million if the Raiders end up trading for him. But they're going to give him, from what I understand, $100 million guaranteed, okay? Out of that money, that's going to be able to lower his salary cap, and we're going to be able to use a lot more of that cap than what people realize. Like, it's not going to be 40 or 50 mil that we're taking away. That's not it at all. Because they're going to give him the money and because they're going to hand him just a shit ton of cash up front, his cap is going to be a lot lower. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit when I get into the Stafford segment that I want to do here in a little bit. But because the NFL, if you remember, upped the salary cap just a little bit, I also did a show, it's probably like last week, 2 weeks ago, and I talked about the new TV right deal. It's going to hit in 2028, 2029. Wait until you see the amount of void years that teams are going to start doing. Hell, I was looking at A.J. Brown's contract the other day. He's got void years until 2034. Why? Because teams know, and a guy like Howie Roseman knows, salary cap's going to go up and up and up and up, and A.J. Brown's going to be getting paid by the Eagles until 2034, whether he's on the team or not. And more NFL teams are going to structure contracts just like that. Cass Joey Bang! May you rest in peace, Mr. Jasper. If we get Stafford or Darnold, I do not want to draft a quarterback this year. No quarterbacks this year really excite me. Draft best player, build the talent, and next year draft the quarterback with a better draft class. And I actually think that this is kind of what the Raiders might be thinking. More and more people that I talk to, it sounds like that this could be the plan. I'm not saying that they're not going to draft a QB, but I think the people that think that the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback at number 6, I'd actually be pretty surprised if that would be the case. All right, this is my last beer that I am going to drink until we officially get into happy hour. Okay?
There we go.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a shot.
Jersey boy.
I'm going to do a shot instead.
Stafford, Henderson, T-Mac, Jacoby, Tucker, Bowers, Colton, Parham, JPJ, Becton, and Glaze is a playoff team in my opinion. So in this, you're getting T-Mac at pick 6, and I'm guessing you're getting Henderson in round 2 because I've been seeing some mocks where he goes late round 1, early round 2. So you're saying the first 2 picks would be T-Mac, Travion Henderson, and then you get Becton in free agency, which Mitch has kind of had that as an idea over the past couple weeks of sign Mekhi Becton. We've talked about T-Mac going at 6, and you've talked about how much you like Travion Henderson as well.
I mean, I've often talked about Travion Henderson in round 3. If the Raiders go out and you get Matthew Stafford, okay, I'm not against drafting Travion Henderson even earlier than that, where I get it. 37 is still a little bit rich for me, but I wouldn't hate the idea because I would say out of Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, Omarion Hampton, and then Travion Henderson, I would say those are maybe the top 4 running backs that are going to get taken in this year's class. I would say Travion Henderson is the best pass catcher of that group. He's also maybe the best pass protector, where that's one of the most underrated parts of his game. And you could see it at times last season at Ohio State. But you know that they're going to throw the football a shit ton with Stafford, and you're going to need somebody that can catch the football effectively. And Chip Kelly's going to be able to get that game going, where the other running backs are good, no doubt about it, especially being able to run between the tackles. But the thing that separates Travion Henderson from all those other guys is he catches the ball sometimes like a receiver. And those other guys don't have that skill set quite nearly like Henderson does. And, you know, if you're Las Vegas and if you don't go out and sign a running back, which I'm okay if the Raiders don't sign a running back, but if you're able to put Travion Henderson, hell, I might even make an argument that Matthew Stafford at quarterback and you get Travion Henderson, that's a better duo, a better pairing of those two together at that skill set with everything else that I think the Raiders are going to do than any other combination. And Ashton Genty is a better running back. I think Omarion Hampton is a better running back. I think Caleb Johnson and Travion Henderson is where I'm like, it just depends on the scheme for me. But if we're also talking value, Ashton Genty at 6, and then I get, I don't know, fill in the blank of even if Luther Burden would fall to you at 37, or if I could get a T-Mac at 6 and then a Travion Henderson at 37, you put that with Matthew Stafford. I don't know about you, Nico Laz. I think I just went from 6 to midnight. Who's the most underrated running back in this year's draft? You're saying the most underrated running back in this year's draft is Jordan James. Let me see here. I actually think one of the running backs that I like a lot that's falling in drafts, and Chugs and I have talked about him, and I don't even know if it's an underrated name. I think Ollie Gordon is a really good back. I think Taj Brooks from Texas Tech is another good back that could potentially go in round 5, round 6. I mean, that's good value. Wanting to pay a guy like Najee Harris, and I know Najee Harris is a good running back, but wanting to pay Najee Harris in a class this deep at the running back position, I don't really get it, man. I don't really get it. And I know I talked about Najee last week a little bit. I wouldn't be mad if the Raiders brought in Najee. I would be a little bit confused by it. It wouldn't be what I would do, but I would rather the Raiders take 2 running backs like a Henderson in round 2, and then you're able to get an Ollie Gordon in round 5 or round 6, better in round 6, instead of going out and signing a running back. That's how I would get it done. We got almost 900 people here in the building. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Do it for the great Tuna. I actually didn't read that last one, if you could go back to it. I want Chugs Rockets first round. Let's get it. I'll tell you this. If the Rockets, how far do the Rockets have to make it for you to start considering, all right, I might want to do watch parties? Like if it's Lakers Luka against the Rockets first, would you be down to at least do a game? Yeah?
I'd be down to do any playoff games.
Any playoff games if it's the Rockets? All right, if Chugs and I did NBA...
Well, it would be on the Texans channel.
Texans channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's Rockets.
All right.
If you want to do Lakers watch parties on here, you can.
All right. That would be fun. If I went live for Lakers... Shit, I even go live for Warriors. I don't give a shit. I would just want to go live and go against you and the Rockets. That's all I really care about. Can the Kings get in? I don't even know. Nick, get Staffy and beef up the O-line in the draft. I want to beef up the O-line in free agency and in the draft if you have the opportunity. And that's going to be something that you'll see one of the segments that I do on today's show. Nico, Rockets, Lockets, Hot Pockets, Lakers and 5 Chugs. I want Stafford. R.I.P. Tuna.
You're going to have to play in the play-in first,
What's
Nico.
the best Hot Pocket flavor? Best Hot Pocket flavor. Let me know down below.
There's only one answer. It's pepperoni.
Okay. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Though, did you ever have like the breakfast Hot Pockets? They grossed me out.
Yeah, never even went close to it.
I can remember the one time my mom bought the breakfast Hot Pockets when I was a kid.
I tried it. Do you know what I tried one time?
Wasn't happy about it.
Breakfast toaster strudels was not but it was like savory ones. It was like egg, bacon, and cheese.
That's terrible. I'll actually say this.
Was not a fan.
Somebody said the Philly like steak Hot Pocket, actually decent. Again, I will and if anybody's eating a Hot Pocket right now, you might be offended by what I'm going to say. Since I have turned 16 years old, I don't think I've had a sober Hot Pocket.
Oh, no.
Like, it's not something that I'm, like, you see a Hot Pocket, though, in the freezer after a Raiders happy hour, that's when it's decent.
Oh, yeah.
You throw that bad boy in the air fryer, shit, dude. Let's go. Black Orchid, what's up? Chugs, Mitch, hope y'all doing well. Mitch, if you could draft one person, and this year, any round, any position, who you making a Raider next year? So I get to pick any player at any round. I mean, I know we're talking a lot about Matthew Stafford, but I would take Cam Ward in round 1. If you told me I get Cam Ward at pick 6, I would rather take Cam Ward at pick 6 than trade for Matthew Stafford.
You could either have Cam Ward at pick 6 and sign Malcolm Koonce, or you get Abdul Carter at 6 and trade for Matthew Stafford.
Wow, say that again. So we get back. So it's either Malcolm Koonce and Cam Ward, or Abdul Carter and trade for Matthew Stafford. Dude, that's sexual. I love Abdul Carter.
I know. That's why I had to tell you.
I think I'd still do Cam Ward and Malcolm.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because, again, like I think Cam Ward can be a legit 10 to 12-year starter with Chip Kelly. Because to me, again, and if I'm so confident in Chip Kelly, which I am, I'm very confident in Chip Kelly, and I think putting Cam Ward and Chip Kelly together is great, but I think it would also be that long-term plan because Pete Carroll's 73 years old, going to be 74, and if the offense is clicking the way that I think it would click, the easy hand the keys to the head coaching job would just be Chip Kelly would take over.
Yeah.
So that's a hell of a question, but I still think that I would end up going with Cam Ward.
Abdul and Staff.
And that's fine. And I'm just looking at it more from the long-term effect where I love Cam Ward, and I've been a Cam Ward believer since last March. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch the videos last March where I said, watch out for a kid from Washington State. He's going to be the next Jaden Daniels. That's something I said. But Cam's been my guy. So I'm going to stick with Cam, cheap rookie contract, and you're also going to be able to bring back a 25-year-old Malcolm Koonce who knows? Malcolm Koonce at 25 could still turn into one hell of an edge rusher. He's already pretty good. Thugador, am I wrong in saying that the only way AOC works as the starter is if we hit in every position around him like Purdy and the Niners?
He's not as good as Purdy.
Again, I mean, he's not Brock Purdy, right? I would say
people act like Brock Purdy sucks and the team around him is good, and I just don't think that that's a true narrative. I think he's a Baker Mayfield level quarterback with a great team around him. But Baker Mayfield's still a great quarterback. He's still a fringe top 10 guy. And I think Brock Purdy is the same skill level as a Baker Mayfield, but just a much better team around him. But if, 15 teams in the NFL right now would be cool with getting a Baker Mayfield.
Sure. Oh, I mean, absolutely. I think the biggest problem with AOC, and again, like I hate always, I don't even say ripping on AOC. I think it's just telling the truth about AOC.
I think your Hoyer comp was good for him as like a Brian Hoyer type.
That's a phenomenal career, guys. I mean, AOC might even turn into a Jimmy Garoppolo where he had to sit. Think about how many years Garoppolo sat and waited and waited and waited his turn. And then finally, he was able to get into some good opportunities. Like, I think that if you're Aiden O'Connell, like, that's the type of career you're going to have. A Brian Hoyer, a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Jimmy Garoppolo type of career where you're in the league for 12 to 15 years because you're such a good backup. And it's such a valuable position. Like, the dream for Aiden would be like Nick Foles or a Joe Flacco, where you figure out a way to win a Super Bowl you have no business winning, and then you play for a longer time.
I know we promised we would say this less on the show, but if you think Purdy sucks and AOC's better than him, you do not know ball. I'm sorry.
That's bad, man.
Purdy made it to a Super Bowl with the Niners, and they went to overtime with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You can't suck at the quarterback position and have that level of success. It is not – the team of that around him would have to be the most legendary team of all time if he actually sucked.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't know if the 49ers make the playoffs with Aiden O'Connell. I mean, obviously not last season, but the years that the Niners went to the Super Bowl, I actually don't know if they make it to the Super Bowl with Aiden. I don't know if they make it to the playoffs with Aiden. And you also got to look at what Brock adds to an offense, just being able to move a little bit. And that's really important in Shanahan systems. Thugador, though, appreciate the question. Let's keep it rolling here. I want to get through all these supers before we get into the next segment. James K., Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris, who you like more?
Ooh.
I might be a Higgins guy.
It's tough because
I would go with Jaden for the Raiders, but
yeah, I like Trey Harris. I think he's got that dog in him. I think for his size, he has a little bit more, better route running and better, downfield than Jaden Higgins. Higgins is just a absolute monster of a weapon. Like, that dude is huge.
Yep.
Catch radius is big. I think Trey Harris gives you more, after the catch of, like, not saying that he's A.J. Brown, but reminding me of, like, a bigger guy who can also run after the catch.
Yeah.
Like, after he gets it. That's what I kind of get the vibe of Trey Harris. So I'm leaning Harris.
Okay. I mean, I know he's a hell of a receiver, and I know he's a big physical guy. I mean, his build is very similar to a DK Metcalf, which I know Pete Carroll likes a lot. Jaden Higgins, though, I believe his catch radius is like 6'7". Like 6'7", like it's like the wingspan or whatever. He's just an absolute monstrous human being. It's crazy. Though both pretty damn good receivers. Rustin Long about to hit the skis for work, so we'll miss most of the show.
Skies.
R.I.P. to the Tuna. Real one for life. Much love to the nation.
Skies.
Huh?
He's about to hit the skies.
I thought he was making a ski joke because of Tom Brady, honestly.
Oh.
And Montana. Here's the thing. I can't read. It's not a secret at this point. Jersey boy. Sanders will be a New York Jet. Place your bets. Do you watch this show? How often do you watch this show? Because 2 weeks ago I said the number one team that I think is going to draft Shedeur Sanders going to be the New York Jets. It was also right after they decided to move on from Rodgers. So whenever they decided to move on from Rodgers, is kind of why we went with that. But also, reminder, $20 Venmo to get in for our duck race. Today's live show is going to be dedicated to our man, Brandon Jasper, R.I.P. to the great Tuna. He unfortunately passed away on Tuesday, one of our Mount Raidermore legends. And anybody that's watched this show, yesterday I went through some old DMs. I went through some old funny things that he sent in when he was doing a lot of his crazy shit. I want y'all to get in the duck race that we do today because somebody's going to win some money, and the amount of people that get in the duck race today, whoever is the winner, let's say the winner ends up winning $300. I am also going to match that $300, and I am going to send that to Brandon's family so to just help with some of the extra costs that I know they are incurring right now. So if you want to get in the duck race, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. And I'm going to put some people in here because I do see that we have a lot more people in.
Get a chance to win some money, and you are also helping out Tuna and his family. So if you want a chance to kind of do a good thing and possibly win some money at the same time, I want to get this pot big.
Oh, yeah. James, you in. Wesley, you in. Marcus, and you in. I see Trivan is in. Jack Hossel in. Yoda Jenkins is in. LA Crash in. Timmy Jones in. Matt Beluhi is in multiple times. I'll also say this, and Chugs and I were talking about this. I am matching the donation because if somebody wins, I want you to be able to keep the money, and I don't want you to feel obligated to give the money to, Brandon. If you want to do it to say, hey, man, I appreciate it, you're more than welcome to do that. But whoever wins, I want you to be more than okay keeping that money because you participated, you played. That's how Brandon would want to do it. He gave away stuff all the time. But I am going to match that donation, and I'm going to give it to Brandon's family. Fluhy, you were in multiple times. And then I also see Jamari Murray is also in multiple times. So here's where we're at right now. It is a $20 Venmo. You would go home with $180, which means I am going to be sending $180 to, I can say it, Kristen. Kristen, you're going to get $180 from me as it stands right now. And I hope that it helps in any way possible. And I know it's not even, it's not even close to being enough. But I'm going to try to do everything I can to help out in every particular way. So we got a few more people that just got in. I see Desi Turner. You're in. Sean Irish in. Marcus and again. Mark Caw in. My man Raider Ron. What's up, Ron? You in. Jason Goots in. And then Matthew Chastain. Hope I pronounced that right. 20 to get in. For right now, a chance to win $250 here on the Raiders Report. God bless you, which also means
oh my goodness,
$250 is going to be going to Kristen. What?
Felt that in my toes.
Oh, I was like, what on earth just happened? You know what? I say we get into the next segment here on today's show because I got to give you at least a solid hour of Brandon Jasper happy hour, man. We're going to have some tuna clock deals. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff, and I hope that you guys stay tuned to the very end of today's show. It would mean a lot to me, and it would mean a lot to Mount Raidermore. It'd mean a lot to the Silver and Black Hills and for a lot of the OGs that always watch this show. You ready to get into this next one? You ready to talk a little bit about some NFL Combine players? I hope the answer to that is yes. We're going to be looking at some running backs. We're going to be talking about some wide receiver prospects that I want the Raiders to have their eyes on. Raider Nation, what's going on? We're going to keep our NFL Combine players to watch trilogy going here on the Raiders Report. Today, we're going to be looking at running backs, wide receiver prospects at the Combine. I also think I used the word trilogy wrong, but I've also never seen Star Wars. You can yell at me down below. We also broke down quarterbacks before, and the way that I wanted to be able to do this show was when quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, they're all going to be participating together. They participate workouts on Saturday. They're going to be speaking to the media today on Thursday, at least, or no. think that's actually on Friday they speak to the media. Friday, February 28th, that's on me. But from top to bottom, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you some of the top prospects at running back and at wide receiver that I want the Raiders to watch at the Combine. For videos around the NFL Combine regarding the Raiders, there's been a lot of rumors from the Combine that we have discussed here on this show. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notifications are turned on. My promise to you is this: nobody's going to outwork me, and I promise you, nobody's going to provide more content for the nation than the Raiders Report. If you want to check out some of the top quarterbacks and all the quarterbacks that are at the Combine, I rank them from 15 down to 1, and I hope that you guys go check out that video. I didn't put quarterbacks with running backs or wide receivers because this would be a 30-minute long show. So first, we're going to start at the running back position in total. 31 running backs at the Combine. And I know for a fact the Silver and Black are going to draft at least one, considering the fact that Amir Abdullah, Alexander Madison are free agents, and we need to be able to help out, get this running attack going. It's really important to Pete Carroll. And last season, the Raiders were the worst running team in the National Football League, averaging only 3.6 yards per carry, and this year's draft class is absolutely stacked at the running back position. All 7 rounds, I think that there's some good value that can be had, and for somebody like Chip Kelly, I can't wait to see how they get this running game going. For the Raiders, you know that they're going to go out and they're going to try to invest in the running back position, so hopefully they see this show and they see which backs I'm keeping an eye on, especially at the Combine. I don't have these ranked in any particular order. I just simply am looking at 5 backs for Las Vegas. The first person, he's not testing at the Combine. It's Ashton Jeanty, the top running back in this year's class. He's going to be a potential top 5 overall pick, probably going to be in the top 10. Jeanty is a hell of a back, but he's not going to be participating. Therefore, I can't really watch him. Let's go to maybe one of my favorite running backs in this year's group. It is Omarion Hampton. Some people think Hampton's going to go in round 1. And my comp to him is honestly like a Joe Mixon. He's a bruiser with an effective blend of speed, patience, and power. Though when he gets going, he is a downhill type of runner that always shows great balance. And when he gets hit, it kind of reminds me of like when you're driving down a road, right? And if somebody were to throw something at a car that's doing 70 miles an hour, it's going to deflect and that car is going to keep going. That's what Omarion Hampton when he gets his motor going. He does need to work on his pass protection, and I wanted to add that in here because if the Raiders go out and they get a guy like Matthew Stafford, the running back that they bring in needs to be able to show that they are a competent pass protector. He has a very heavy workload for the UNC Tar Heels last season, was able to put up some really good numbers, but I want to see what he does in the 40. I want to see what he does in some of those acceleration-type drills. Let's go to Caleb Johnson, who this guy might be one of the most perfect running backs to fit with Pete Carroll and just putting him in a system that I think that this Raiders team could run this season if they want to go very run-heavy. And he might be the best outside zone runner in this year's class. I love the patience that he shows. He waits for that hole to develop. I don't want to just say Le'Veon Bell because Iowa's, Steelers colors, Le'Veon Bell. But, I'm telling you this right now, that patience in the hole, and then when he sees it, he's hitting it and he's exploding through it. Giggity. I like his lateral agility at times, but then other times you watch it on tape, it is lacking pretty bad. I want to see what he does in the 3-cone drill. I want to see how he does moving east to west because I know the dude can move north and south. Big physical runner, had over 240 carries this past season. Also, the amount of stacked boxes that Caleb Johnson faced to put up the numbers that he did. If you want somebody to move the chains, Caleb Johnson is a hell of a back for that. Let's go to somebody else that I'm watching very closely. Trevion Henderson. And the more and more I watch Henderson's tape, the more and more you hear these Stafford rumors and then the connection to Chip Kelly. I don't know if there's a running back based on where I think that you could get him, and I would love to get him in round 3. If you can get Henderson in round 3, I don't think there's a better value in this year's class. Henderson and Junkins, you both got to watch. You got to watch both of them because of their connection with Kelly. He's got breakaway speed. He's also not afraid to be able to lower the shoulder and hit you because I know when you watch him run next to Junkins, I think Henderson looks a little bit smaller. He's dynamic in the passing game. He can pass block, which is really, really critical for this Las Vegas team. But people don't realize that he's 5'10", 210 pounds. And they don't realize how strong and powerful he is and that he can break away in the snap of a finger. Trevion Henderson, I make the argument, might be the best running back to pair with Matthew Stafford. Let's go to another running back here that I started to like more and more watching of what he could be, where if Las Vegas wants to say, let's go out and add a Trevian Henderson, and then you also want to draft another running back, then kind of be that little bit of a bruiser, Jordan James. And I would say when I turned on the Jordan James tape, he runs with determination like Marshawn Lynch. He's not close to the athlete that Lynch was, but he is a bowling ball. He's low to the ground, and he just gets that motor going. He's not somebody that's going to hit a home run. And quite frankly, I don't know if he's ever going to have a run in the NFL longer than 50 yards. But you know what I like? I like somebody that can pick up a good first down. I like somebody that I trust at the goal line. And I need somebody that can move the sticks. Jordan James is a stick mover. 3rd down and 1, you put him behind JPJ, you're going to pick up a first down. 5'10", 205, he's got a really thick lower half, and I love what he brings to the table, especially as a physical runner. Did somebody say thick? I mean, let's be honest. This is probably the number 1 running back that I think a lot of people are going to watch because it's Cam Skattebo. And when you just when you look at Skattebo, you're like, I don't know how this guy's going to be able to get it done. But you know what? Some guys are just able to get it done. His footwork and his ability to make cuts at that size is why I believe he's as good as what he is. I'm not going to throw out this comp because I don't think that he's the same running back. But the last time I saw somebody who is just this big and tiptoe around the way that Skattebo does, I'm going to say a name like Jerome Bettis. And it has almost like that ballet style of just, it's smooth. And he's big, but it's just a smooth type of runner. He bursts to top speed pretty quickly. So I want to see what he looks like in that first 10 to maybe 20 yards of that 40-yard dash. He's also a big fan of big-time collisions. And he's able to do that in college. I do worry, though, if he takes that exact same mindset to the pros of, I'm going to try to get into a car accident every single time that I hit somebody. He's usually bigger and more athletic, more physical than probably most offenders that he's going to go up against in college. It's not going to be the same thing in the NFL. And he might be okay for a few years. But the longevity of Cam Skattebo does scare me a little bit if he just has that type of mentality. Though, dude shows up when the lights are brightest, and I like players that do that. So what I want you to do is give me a running back down below that you want me to watch or that you're going to be watching very closely at the Combine, because there's 31 backs. I talked about 5, and I am going to watch a bunch of them because I'm also a fantasy football nut, which is why I can't wait for Saturday's NFL Combine drills. Coming up next here on the show, let's look at some wide receivers that the Silver and Black, that Raiders fans need to be looking at, because there's a lot of good wide receivers also in this year's class from top to bottom. And for a Raiders team, you know that they're going to have to go out and they're going to have to add some talent because there's not a lot of depth on our wide receiver depth chart right now. Before I get into some of those wide receivers, I do got to tell y'all, you consider yourself a real one. Are you somebody that's subscribed to the Raiders Report? Do you watch this show religiously? Well, if you are, then go down to chatsports.com/RO4L. That link's going to be down in the comments and in the description, and get yourself a Raiders Report t-shirt. When I use the word real one, it means that you rock with us through thick and thin. Raider Nation for life, real one for life as well. If you believe that you don't got to bleed the same blood to be family, then I promise you, we're rocking here with y'all on the Raiders Report. Real ones, where you at? Let's go to the wide receiver position now. 49 total wide receivers at the Combine, and the Raiders are going to draft at least one. Unless they go out and they spend big in free agency on a few different guys and trade for a DK Metcalf, I would say at the time that I'm making this video right now, if the Raiders didn't draft at least one wide receiver, I'd go, shame on you, because the only dude that is proven that I have faith in is Jacoby Myers. I hope Trey Tucker can be good, but I don't know if Trey Tucker is going to be good. I know Jacoby Myers is a solid wide receiver, and therefore, you could look for Las Vegas to take a wide receiver as early as pick 6. I think that they could also wait maybe for round 3 where they have 2 picks there at pick 68. Could they use the Devontae Adams pick in the 3rd round to take a receiver? And I don't know. I like a lot of the value there in the middle rounds for some of these players. Now, whether you're looking for a speedster, whether you're looking for more of a possession-style receiver, for me, I know a lot of people fall in love with the 40, and there's going to be a lot of teams that fall in love with the 40-yard dash, and I'm going to watch it, no doubt about it. I also want receivers, though, that I know are going to be good receivers. I don't care if you can run fast. I need you to be a good NFL receiver. especially if we get Matthew Stafford. All right, so here's some of the top wide receivers to watch at the Combine. T-Mac from Arizona, he's the top guy. And this dude is fun to watch. No doubt that he's the top receiver in the class, and the fact that he could be the number 6 pick, I mean, you got to watch him. He's got this Gumby-like body adjustments, and he is able to high point the football. What he's able to do is really fun to watch. Like, he reminds me a little bit of like a T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Drake London blend of a receiver, and that's a lot of hype there. His 2024 tape, really good. I think his 2023 tape might even be better. So for me, I look at 2 years at a wide receiver where he dominated, and he dominated at 6'5", 210 pounds. You're going to be looking at a receiver, if he can stay healthy, is going to be one of the top receivers in the NFL for 10 to 12 years. Like, I mean, he's legit, man. Chugs just whispered in my ear, he's like Julio. He's taller than Julio. I don't know if he's as athletic as what Julio was coming out, but the receivers that he reminds me of, again, Drake London, a Mike Evans, a T. Higgins. I think we would take all 3 of those receivers on the Raiders at age, I don't even know how old he is, but he can't be very old. Let's go to Matthew Golden, Texas wide receiver, and this is another one of these players where I like versatility, and I know Chip Kelly likes versatility as well, and the fact that he could probably play at X, Y, or Z, you can line him up in the slot, you can put him, stretch the field, you're going to be able to get that done. He shines when the lights are at the brightest. Look at some of the biggest games Texas played in. Golden was somebody who always showed up. His routes are a little bit lazy at times, which is frustrating, but I almost wonder if, because a lot of times they say in the Steve Sarkisian offense that there's just certain plays that are dedicated to certain people. I almost wonder if, like, Golden knew that he wasn't going to get the ball in certain plays, because some of the routes he ran, I'm going to scare some people when I say this, kind of reminded me of, like, Amari Cooper back in the day for the Raiders, where you watch them sometimes, you're like, that guy's unbelievable. And then you watch him run a route, and you're like, what the hell was that? That was the laziest route I just saw. Golden's got to be a little bit more consistent, but he's going to be a good fit in a lot of offenses out there. Let's go to another receiver that I want the nation to watch. It's Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, and this is another long, lanky receiver that's got a lot of athletic ability. Big inside, outside, wide out with good athletic attributes, but his ball skills are legit, man. He's got that unreal catch radius at 6'7". A little bit of a limited route tree. Not a lot of yards after the catch, where when he catches it, he's essentially going to go down with it. And I think that has to do with some of the limited athletic ability. Like, he's a good athlete, and he's a good athlete in college. But good athletes in college don't turn into great athletes all the time in the NFL. He's going to get better, and his craft is going to get better. But he's going to really need to have a solid veteran quarterback. If he gets put on a team with a young rookie and you're kind of in an uncomfortable situation, I can see Jaden Higgins struggling. You put him in the right situation, though, dude's going to be special. Let's go to Alec Iomanner, wide receiver from Stanford. And I have had him in a few mock drafts. Another good possession receiver. He's got that NFL blend of height, weight, long speed. Possesses the work ethic, and work ethic is really important, and a lot of his coaches have just spoke about how much he just loves football. And the Raiders have a lot of Stanford connections from their time back with David Shaw, who I know David Shaw hasn't been a part of the Raiders for a while, but Mark Davis respects David Shaw, and they still talk, and Shaw obviously has his connections to Stanford. But to me, I want somebody that I think is going to get better and better and better, and that's exactly what Iomanner was able to show at Stanford. 63 grabs, 831 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like, I don't want to just say Jacoby Myers because Jacoby Myers is a Raider. I don't even know if they play all that similar, but he might never be this top 10 receiver. I think he's going to be this top 20, top 30 receiver for a really long time in this league because he can develop. Now, the other thing I'm going to throw out is like a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, where Fitzgerald got better and better and better and better and always worked on his craft. That is the highest ceiling that I could possibly get to, which would be obviously an NFL Hall of Fame receiver. I hope that he tests well, though, because he needs to test well. Let's go to somebody else who is just an absolute freak of nature, Savion Williams from TCU. Williams is a gadget player, Swiss Army knife, and if you use him in the right way, he's going to be successful, where if you use him as a gadget athlete and instead of saying, I got to get him 6 to 7 targets a game, but you say, I got to put the ball in his hands 6 to 7 times a game, you're going to be a lot more better off. He is going to test unbelievably well. He's 6'5", he's 225, he's going to run unbelievable. His hands, not great. Route tree, not great. But when you put the ball in this kid's stomach, he makes shit happen, dude. Like, he is at 6'5", 225, and he plays like a, I don't know, Percy Harvin, Cordell Patterson. Like, the way that I think the Rams or whoever the hell drafted Tavon Austin wanted him to look, if they would use a 6'5", 225 player like that, I think you're going to have some success with him. If you just want him to be a downfield stretcher, that to me is not the right way to use him. But because he's physical and because he's a good athlete, I do think that that fits well with what the Raiders are going to try to do this upcoming season. So give me a wide receiver that you're excited to watch at the NFL Combine. A lot of names, 49 in total. Again, I gave you only 5. And there were just some names that I like a lot, and these are just players that, again, I want y'all to be able to watch with me. If you want to check out some other prospects, please. I did a whole video on edge, defensive tackles, and linebackers. I also did an entire video on DBs and tight ends. My job here at the Raiders Report is to talk about the Raiders, but I also want to be able to inform people on the Combine, free agency, trades, draft, and whatever it is. We will do our homework here at Chat Sports. We will do our homework here at the Raiders Report to make sure that you guys are getting the best content every single day. All right, y'all, reminder, $20 Venmo to get in at Mitchell Renz, 365. We got 800 people here watching, and one more segment to go, and then it is going to get really, really wild, I think, here on the Raiders Report. Some of the names that just got in for the duck race, the last name that I saw was Matthew, and now I got one in for Ira Jackson, Desi Turner, and then Eduardo De La Rosa. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Right now, 20 to get in. Winner would go home. Oh, boy. All right, we just got a shit ton more. Wow, there's a lot. All right. Hang on a second here. I see Sean Gambling. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I see Scott and Renee. Raphael. Misty. Buck Kirk. Chris Agg. Manuel Ruiz. Ron Raz. And then TJ. You are all in. I'm going to send one message to somebody. Oh, I already got it. And then Gilbert Moreno, you in. So that means, as it stands right now, $20 Venmo, you would go home with $420, which means I send $420 to Kristen. Pretty awesome, man. You guys are killing it today. You guys are absolutely, positively killing it today. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. Spam Tuna down below for a shout-out. We are one segment away from getting into our Tuna happy hour.
2 likes away from 400.
2 likes away from 400. Uh-oh. Avery just said there's some syringes in the fridge if Tuna is getting wild. I don't know if I can do those syringes again. Dude, they've been in there for months. They've been in there since the NFL playoffs, which feels like last year at this point.
I've syringed before. I'll syringe again.
I'll syringe again. I'll syringe again. All right, y'all, let's get into the final segment here on the show, and then let's get this shit show started for the great Tuna. We got one more to go, and then we're going to get this shit show started for the great Tuna. Frank, you in. Nico Laz, you also in. All right, the final segment coming up here on today's program is going to be around if the Raiders trade for Matthew Stafford, what else they should do. And the timing of this it's technically not going to be able to line up exactly how we're going to want it, but bear with me, and I'll walk through the entire, idea that I had behind this show. So hopefully you guys like that we put together. It's not a secret. A lot of Matthew Stafford rumors out there, and I wanted to be able to discuss. I got to give some shout-outs, though, to Giuseppe, Blue Richards, D. Burt. What up, Kyle Hotsapple? I see you down there. Peter Bueno, what up, my man? Aaron Reynolds, Dan Darr, all showing love to the great Tuna. You ready, my man? You ready?
I think so. One more segment and then a little Tuna happy hour.
A little Tuna happy hour never hurt anybody.
Oh, yep.
Never hurt anybody if you need it. If you need it. Maybe. Coming up!
Not badly.
In the future.
No, I'm saying Tuna clock never hurt anybody bad.
Sure.
Might have a little bruises and bumps.
I was going to say, I've got some bruises and bumps from some Tuna clocks before.
Oh, yeah.
We got some great Tuna clock deals coming up for all y'all in just a moment. But let's first talk about Matthew Stafford. Let me just get to the factor. Okay.
A little cold open.
Little coldy. Ready? Whew. Let's rock. If you want the Las Vegas Raiders to trade for Matthew Stafford, smash that like button. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to go through the perfect Raiders offseason plan if they go out and they're able to pull off a trade for this guy right here. So if you want this to happen, smash that like button because I think you're going to love what we got coming up for you right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and I wanted to be able to do a segment that, quite frankly, I thought would be fun to do. I wanted to be able to paint a picture of what I think the Raiders' perfect offseason would look like if the Silver and Black pull off a trade for Rams quarterback Stafford. It's not a secret. There's so many rumors. There's a lot of news right now around Stafford, Las Vegas, Tom Brady, so much so that Ian Rapoport and Jordan Schultz got into a fight over at a Starbucks. So the way that this show is going to go is I'm going to first tell you what I think that the trade and contract would look like for Stafford. Then I'll tell you what the free agency plan would be. Then I did a quick little mock draft to show you an entire Raiders offseason. And at the end, I'll also tell you what the starting offense and starting defense would look like if the Raiders follow my offseason plan. So let's first go to the trade here. And this is what I think it could potentially cost to get Stafford. The Raiders get Stafford and a 6th-round pick, which is 192 overall. The Rams don't have a 5th, so I had to be able to negotiate, and based off some of the things that we have heard at the NFL Combine, I don't know if it's going to cost a 2nd. And if you're the Raiders, you could either give up your 2nd or you might be able to get away with giving up your 3rd and a 4th-round pick. The Raiders then would still have that other 3rd-round pick that they got from Davante Adams. In terms of how much money it's going to cost, the Rams are going to have to eat some money, which is part of the thing. But Stafford wants guaranteed money, and he's looking for at least $50 million per year. The contract that I think that Stafford would end up getting from Las Vegas would be somewhere along the lines of 2 years, $100 million, fully guaranteed. So you give him $100 million fully guaranteed. Mark Davis, maybe it's Tom Brady as well, give him a little bit of cash up front to really lower that overall salary cap hit in year one. And hypothetically speaking, if they do this contract very similar to the way Spyrtek was able to get Tom Brady to come down to Tampa Bay, you could be looking at Stafford at somewhere around $25 million for cap hit this season, and then it'd be a $50 million cap hit for next year. So coming up, I'm going to tell you what that free agency plan looks like for Stafford. It is at least, important to note in regards to trades, free agency, that none of these things can really happen until the new league year starts. So there could be that legal tampering period, which is the first 48 hours, and March 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time is when free agency starts. That legal tampering period, again, 48 hours prior. The Raiders have, it's 96.7 in salary cap space. Reminder, the cap went up, and it officially became official today that it's $279.5 million is the salary cap, which is basically what over the cap originally projected. So with that being said, I know that some of the stuff that I'm about to talk about in free agency could technically happen before that this Stafford trade becomes officially official. But let's say the Raiders pull off the deal. Let's say the Raiders pay Stafford what I just said. And then let's say, it costs to do that trade. That puts the Raiders right now, if they were at 26.7, I just did it for math's sake to make it a little bit easier on myself. That puts them at somewhere around $70.0 million to spend right now in free agency. Step one is this. I'm going to create $40.2 million. And if you didn't see the video that I put out on the Raiders Report where I freed up $40 million this offseason, I did 10 things. And I guarantee you this, and I don't say this often, 9 out of 10 Raiders fans will look at everything that I do in this video and they go, all right, yeah, I think I would do everything in that video. It's nothing out of the realm of possibility. So creating $40 million is very possible if the Raiders want to do so this offseason. Step number 2, you got to resign your unrestricted free agents. And there's a lot of them. And we could go through and we could look at all 17. To me, though, I'm going to just look at 5. And the numbers that you're going to see up on screen are the numbers that Spyrtek projects that it's going to cost to bring these players back. So Adam Butler, Trevon Merrick, Robert Spillane, Lavon Chasen, and Nate Hobbs are the players that I am going to re-sign. Don't get me wrong. Some of these might be a little bit less, but some of them might be a little bit more of what they could get on the open market. So after me bringing back all those players that you see on screen, and after I created $40.2 million, so remember, I had $70 million. Added the 40.2, now I have 110.2. After re-signing all those players, I am now down to $74.9 million left to spend to make some offseason moves. It's also important to remember you got to save at least a little bit of money. That way you can pay some of those draft picks when you do end up drafting them. Let's go to number 3 here, and it's re-sign some restricted free agents. So for those who don't remember, the Raiders have already brought back Isaiah Palomar to a 2-year, $8.45 million deal. I would say there's 2 other restricted free agents that I could see the Raiders bringing back, and let's just say Zach Carter gets $1.2 million, and DJ Turner also gets $1.2 million. For Las Vegas, they need some extra depth at DT, and Turner's been on this team for a while, and the Raiders kept their special teams coach, which I think is probably the biggest value that Turner is going to be able to provide. So after those 2 players there, 74.9 subtracted by 2.4, we're sitting here rocking with $72.5 million to make some extra offseason moves. Now, I still, though, want to be able to bring back some exclusive rights free agents on top of that, because there is one name that deserves to be brought back on this roster, and that is Jordan Meredith. And I think Meredith is going to be another player, when you look at what he could get, I mean, he might get a little bit more than this, and it could also be a deal where they get 1.2. My point is, it's not going to cost a lot of money to bring back Sam Webb, Jordan Meredith, or Kanai Malga. So when you add up all those deals, it comes out to, again, somewhere around about a $2.4 million. So now I'm sitting at 70.1. The importance of being able to create that $40 million in salary cap space, it's so critical for the Raiders because I started at 70 after the Stafford deal. Then by you just renegotiating some contracts, pushing some money around, adding a few void years, adding an extension there or two, you're able to create some money, which the Raiders really, really need to do this offseason. So coming up here, I'm going to do another trade. It's not only going to be Matthew Stafford. Let's face it. If Pete Carroll John Spyrtek and if Tom Brady are able to pull off a Stafford trade, you're trying to win right now. And the trade that I'm going to do helps the Raiders try to win right now. If you're also trying to win in life, you also got to be able to eat healthy in order to do that. Maybe you're trying to get stronger. Maybe you're just trying to be a healthier version of you. Factor is here to help you do that. So if you're ready to start optimizing your nutrition, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/FactorPodcast to get 50% off your free shipping on your first box. I love Factor. My fiance loves it. We use it every single day because, let's face it, when you get home from a long day at work, I don't want to cook. I don't want to clean. I just want to eat. And Factor is helping me and helping the nation do exactly just that. Let's go to the next thing here. I'm trading for DK Metcalf. Pete Carroll wants to make a splash. He wants to be able to build this thing, and he wants players that he believes in. Pete Carroll and Metcalf have a phenomenal relationship. And based off some of the things that I have heard from the NFL Combine and based off some of the things that I've heard from our Seahawks team here at Chat Sports, it is going to cost at minimum a second-round pick. And I know giving up a second-round pick is going to maybe make some people not love the fact that I did this, but Metcalf at 28 years old is still a hell of a receiver, and I still think he's one of the best receivers in the league. The fact that he can stretch the field, that's great for Kelly. The fact that he can block, that's great for what we're looking at. And you put DK Metcalf, Brock Bowers, and then Jacoby Myers on a field, that's really difficult to stop. So I think what would end up happening, because Metcalf has 1 year left on his contract, he's going to get a 2-year extension. I think that deal would look something like 3 years, $97 million with $85 million guaranteed, which is going to scare some people. Though, if I was the Raiders, I would structure Metcalf's deal very similar to the way that the Philadelphia Eagles structured A.J. Brown's deal, which was 3 years, $96 million with $84 guaranteed. Let's face it, if you're the Raiders and you make a trade for Metcalf, he's going to want more money than A.J. Brown because the salary cap went up. But let's look at how smart Howie Roseman is and how smart that this contract is for A.J. Brown. So essentially what you guys see up on screen, in 2024, when the Eagles pulled off that trade, A.J. Brown made $11.8 million. Reminder, it's a 3-year contract. But because Howie Roseman adds void years and he just pushes the deal back and back and back, you're starting to see teams do this more often because they know year after year the salary cap goes up. Also, reminder that NFL contract with the TV media rights is going to hit in 2028, 2029. That's going to be more money. But I mean, A.J. Brown signed a 3-year deal, and he is technically going to be paid by the Philadelphia Eagles through 2034. I think if you're the Raiders, you do a similar deal like that with Metcalf, and then it's only going to be like an $11.9 million hit on your cap, which, no cap, that's all I care about. If Mark's got to pay more money out of his pocket, he should have to flip and do it. If Tom's got to pay more money out of his pocket, he should flip and do it. I want to win right now, and I think going out and trading for DK Metcalf and giving him a deal very similar to A.J. Brown allows the Raiders to do that, and it helps you win in a 3-year window, which is what the Raiders are going to try to do here. Let's go to the next thing that I could see the Raiders potentially doing, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign Josh Sweat. I want the Raiders to be able to get after whoever the quarterback is with 4. If you get Josh Sweat, Christian Wilkins, and Malcolm Koonce, maybe you can bring back Malcolm, but Josh Sweat, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, Caleb Von Chasen, and you're maybe able to add another edge in the draft, that's going to be tough to stop. And if you're able to generate pressure with 4, good luck, because that's how Patrick Graham's defenses are built. Like, I talked about so much, got to copy what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You go back and you look at that game when the Raiders beat the Chiefs on Christmas. The Eagles literally took what the Raiders did, and the Raiders took what the Buccaneers did from John Spyrtek in Tampa Bay back in 2019, with not 2019, but back when Tom Brady and them, 2021, was able to win a Super Bowl. Like, those things, you put all of that together, and that's really a big reason why I want to go out and pay Josh Sweat, and I'm willing to do it at $18.8 million. So let's say after signing Sweat, you're now going to be looking somewhere at around 39.4. And I know that all these numbers are not going to be exact, but I hope that you enjoy this segment, and I hope that you're working with me a little bit because we're just trying to have some fun, trying to paint some pictures here because that's what this show is about. Let's go to the next thing that I would do in free agency. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign Mekhi Becton. If you're going to invest in Matthew Stafford, you also have to invest in that offensive line, and going out and signing Mekhi Becton, I think helps you do that. You put him at right guard. It allows you to be a physical type of runner, but then also you really need to be able to upgrade that interior line. Coming off a career year, and I think he's the perfect fit for the way that the Raiders are going to want to run the football. Stafford's going to spray the ball around, no doubt about it. But Pete also comes from that old school having a thumper at running back, and I think that the Raiders are going to try to add a thumper at running back. You pair that with Stafford, you put that on this offense at $10.2 million, and I like the way that that looks. So 39.4 subtracted by 10.2, we are now sitting here at $29.2 million to make some moves in the offseason. So we're running out of money a little bit, which I know it scares me. And reminder, I wanted to be able to save some money for the draft because you still have to be able to pay those players in the draft. And one of the moves that I used to create $40.2 million is moving on from Gardner Minshew post June 1st, and you don't get that money until after June 1st. So I thought it would be wrong for me to spend the entirety of the money, so please keep that in mind. Let's go to number 8 here. I'm going to sign DJ Reed at corner. He's got a lot of connections with a lot of coaches on this staff already, including Pete Carroll. And it's important to be able to build a great offense with Stafford, but it's also important to be able to win on the defensive side of the football. No doubt about it, and that's what Carroll and Spyrtek talked about at the Combine, of them trying to build a complete roster because that's what wins Super Bowls. And Reed, he is a great replacement for Hobbs if you're unable to bring him back. For Jones, all-in-one player. He's an inside-outside corner who played with Pete Carroll from 2020 to 2021, and Spyrtek has him valued at $14.7 million, which I like Byron Murphy. I like a player, there's a lot of other corners. Carlton Davis is another one. But when you just look at a 28-year-old that has done the things that DJ Reed has done at $14.7 million, I like that value, and I'm trying to be able to win. If I can bring 4, and I got DJ Reed, Nate Hobbs, and Ja'Cory Bennett with with Trevon Merrick and Isaiah Polamau, I really like that secondary. I like how that looks a lot. So after signing DJ Reed, we got $14.5 million to make moves in the offseason, which for me, I'm not going to be able to make any more moves. So therefore, we're concentrating. We're moving our direction now to the NFL draft, and we're going to be able to fill some voids. What's important to remember from this is I had to make some trades for Stafford, and I had to make some trades for DK Metcalf. So going into the draft, this is what we would have had. So the picks that you see on screen are the picks that the Raiders have. But remember, I traded 37 to Seattle, I traded 68 to the Rams, and I also traded 107 to the Rams, which would then put me like this for the Raiders draft picks if they follow this offseason plan, where I have 1 first round, I got a 3rd round, I got a 5th round, I have 4 6th-round picks, and then a pick in round 7. So the way that I did this, I did a PFF mock draft, and I'm not going to do the entire mock or else we'd be here all day. I am just going to show you the players that I selected, and I'm going to walk you through the thought process of why I ended where I did. So the pick that I took at number 6, I took Will Campbell, an offensive tackle from LSU. If you're going to trade for Stafford, I want to be able to protect him, and I think that if you get Will Campbell, you put him over there at left tackle, you kick Colton Miller over to right tackle, which he has done before, and the fact that Miller's got 2 years left on his deal and 0 guaranteed, it's a conversation that I would have with Miller before I would even do this. I was able to get Trevion Henderson at running back in round 3. I also was able to trade up to get Quincy Riley, which is why it looks a little bit funny. I took round 5, Billy Bowman at safety, which I like Bowman a lot to be able to pair him in the secondary. I had to give up a 6th-round pick, and I had to give up I actually think I had to give up 2 6 to move up to round 5, where I was able to get Quincy Riley there. Then in round 6, I was able to get Kyle McCord, and I took a tight end for tight end 3. And then in round 7, I ended up going with a really athletic linebacker who can give you some special teams value, and Eugene Asante. That's my offseason plan with Matthew Stafford. There's thousands of ways that you could have gone about this, and I hope that you appreciated the show that I did today. So you know what I wanted to show you? What the team would look like starting on offense and on defense with Stafford. And I want you to grade it down below, A, B, C, D, or F. So here's my offense. At running back, I got Trevion Henderson. My wide receivers are DK Metcalf, Jacoby Myers. At tight end, I got Brock And then at wide receiver, tight end, so if you want to go 3 wide, it's Trey Tucker, Jacoby, DK. If you want to go 2 tight end set, it's Brock, Michael Mayer with those 2 wideouts. Left tackle, Will Campbell from LSU. Left guard, I'm going to put Dylan Parham. At center is Jackson Powers Johnson. Right guard is Mekhi Becton. And then right tackle is going to be Colton Miller, which again is where he played at UCLA for at least a year. And then on defense, I got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, Josh Sweat. At linebacker, it's Robert Spillane. I have Tommy Eichenberg in it starting, which is probably the weakest spot on this defense. Cornerback, DJ Reed, Jacorian Bennett, Nate Hobbs, and then my safeties are Trevon Merrick and Isaiah Paul-Lamau. So what do you think of my Raiders offseason plan if they go out and they trade for Stafford? When I go back and I look at this and I can think about all the things that I did and didn't do, I do wonder if I didn't trade for DK, if I just kept that second-round pick and I was able to maybe even draft a T-Mac instead at pick number 6. I love the offensive line I was able to build, but from top to bottom, I think that's a really successful football team that's going to be able to compete and get into the playoffs. And if you get into the playoffs, as far as I'm concerned, anything's possible. But that roster is a playoff caliber roster for the Raiders in 1 year. What do you guys think? A, B, C, D, or F? Somebody said, why Miller at right tackle? You could keep Colton Miller at left tackle and then just put Will Campbell at right. But I don't know if that's the route that they would go. Where, the Chargers last season, a lot of people kind of ripped on them for taking Joe Alt when they already had Rashawn Slater. I mean, I think it's just an easier conversation where you're like, one of you is going to play tackle, but we'll pay you left tackle money. And I think that's what would happen. All right, y'all.
We'll see.
Are y'all ready to get this party started for the great Tuna? Tuna, you ready? We're about to blow the roof off this joint, so here's what we got to do. I got to show you all the deals here on today's show. If you want to get some questions, comments on this program, and if you got somebody that's under the age of 21, if you watch this show with your kid and you don't want to watch them a bunch of old men getting a little bit weird, then I would tell them to turn off this thing because it's about to get nuts. Hashtag Raiders Super Chat. Ask me anything. Every $5 Super Chat that we get from here on out, I got some beers over here. I know that not everybody can do the craziness. I'm going to cheers you, and we're going to get it going. If you want to get in the duck race, it's still the $20 Venmo at Mitchell Rents 365. From here on out, bangs, $50 bangs from here on out. I'm not doing a beer chug for a $50 bang. I'll tell you that right now. But if you want to compete in our bank competition, it's a $50 bank from here on out. And then I got a tuna wheel. So every hundo that we get, I will do a beer bong, and we are going to spin the tuna wheel. If you've already sent Super Chats in before, I appreciate it. I greatly, greatly do. But we are going to get this party started right flipping now. Come in! Raider bang! What up, coming to the great Tuna? So I know you guys don't know what the tuna wheel is. The tuna wheel has an opportunity to get this place crazy, man. An opportunity to get this place.
An opportunity.
An opportunity. I like that a lot, actually. An opportunity to the great Tuna.
All right, here we go. Here's our tuna wheel coming up. Of course, it's not cropped correctly.
I don't know how. Is it weird to drink out of the front? Because I feel like it's easier.
I thought you were more of a from the back kind of guy, but.
I mean, I definitely am. Definitely am.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. I don't know what this is going to land on. One free duck. So here's how we're going to do it. The next person that gets in the duck race, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Rents 365. You are going to get a free duck.
Blinky!
Blinky! Bang!
F it! Bang for the great Tuna. Never met him, never seen him or heard his voice, but it feels like losing a buddy.
Though, could you do me a solid? Could you add? Could we put like an hour clock on? I want to do an hour. Tuna clock, 1 hour. I mean, we are going to do this happy hour style for 1 hour, and then we're going to get on out of here. I want to party my you-know-what off for the great Tuna. That's the objective. I do have to give away a free duck, and the importance of this show is I know we're going to get a lot of super chats, and we're going to catch up on all of them, but I got to make sure that I dot my I's and I cross my T's because I have a feeling that you guys are going to be crossing my I's and my T's. Jeffrey Sandoval, you in? And Jeffrey, you get the free duck. So Jeffrey Sandoval got the free duck, and that also means now I got my man Can't Walk. You in? I see Darth. You in? I also see Juan Jimenez. You in, which means $20 Venmo right now for a chance to win $490, which also means, Kristen, I'm going to send you $490. But you know what? Yoda Jenkins! Bye!
Here we go.
The OG. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Another. Spin it again. Spin it again. If it lands on something twice, I'm just going to do it again. No, if this lands on free duck again. Oh, boy.
So bangs are 50.
Bangs are 50.
Four bangs, and that equals
if
a
we
boot.
get 4 50s in the next 60 seconds, it's a boot, which could be devastating.
We're going to have to spin the wheel again, though.
We are going to have to spin the wheel again because Raider Ron Bay! Come on, Ron!
He said, for my brother Tuna.
For the great Tuna.
I mean, this just needs to shuffle. There we go.
Hey, we're not ducking around here.
It loves
We're not ducking around here.
Tuna did love a good duck.
Dude, I mean, I went back and I looked at all the duck races Tuna's been in. It's an absurd amount of duck races. It's an absurd amount of duck races.
Ryan
Campbell! Bang!
F it, we've lost a great legend, but I'm sure he'll do great things in heaven. And bang, 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 a trash can. Can't wait for this offseason. It's going to be one hell of a ride.
I see it looks like
3 bangs away from a boot.
David Ward, you in. Jonathan Wilson, you in. And Jonathan, you were the one that's going to get that free duck. Winner now gets $520 here on the Raiders Report. $520. It's a good number. It's a good number. Great number, quite frankly.
Some would say.
Some would say. We did lose a legend. What up, Suave? He says, pour one up real quick to the great Tuna. Blessings to all, Noah. Appreciate you, my man.
Suavemente, suavemente.
What up, Sergeant Fighter? R.I.P. to the great Tuna. I know I still got to finish some of these.
Godspeed to all Raider Nation. You can bet that. This is 4 chuggy heads, baby. Semper Fi, and let's go.
It's tough to drink out of this.
Ass.
It's actually easier from the side.
All I want for my birthday is a big booty. Oh.
I mean, I can't. What's crazy is this. I actually think this holds more than a boot. I think this is 4 beers. I think it's 4 beers, man.
Carlos.
What up, Carlos?
Are we allowed to trade for Stafford before March 12th?
No. Well, technically, no. There's a legal tampering period. So the first 48 hours, yes, but the deal doesn't become officially official until then. Reminder, I know Stafford originally got traded before But it was the old Stafford Cabo thing was wild. What on earth?
Ryan Campbell! Ryan Campbell!
Let's go, dude. You got a boot in you?
I do. This is for Tuna. He would appreciate it.
Boot race.
On a side note,
Boot race.
did you hear about Gruden and the Bucks?
Oh, dude. We heard about Gruden and the Bucks. Believe me.
That sounds like a weird band from Austin.
All right, I want to wait. I want to do, the only way I feel like this is going to work is if.
Can we do a boot versus ass race?
Are you going to chug out of the ass?
Well, no. I mean, you don't have to fill it up all the way. Just since it's more than the boot, I feel like you've been liking drinking out of the ass. You've been kind of an ass.
All right,
guy.
how about this? I poured this up before the show started.
Okay. No, it's about. I mean, it's about the same.
I mean, dude,
It's
that's
got
close.
it's got a little bit more room at the top, but it would be dangerous because I feel like it would be very spillable.
Very, very spillable.
We also have
So many.
craziness because this one's coming in from
David! I'm banging. Bang!
Just tuned in and heard the news. R.I.P. to the Tuna, a legend and a Raider OG. My condolences to his family and friends. Shout out to all of Raider Nation. Much love from the Vergara family, and salute to all active duty and fellow veterans. If you want to help out Tuna today, our 50-50 raffle, the proceeds are all going to Tuna's family. So if you want a chance to have some fun, I would say one of Tuna's favorite things that we did on the show was duck races. Every time he tuned in, he was like, what's the duck race at?
I would say duck race. Locals. For the best, what was the best content, personal interactions, and more live shows.
Yes.
I actually think that was exactly it.
But all the
dude.
proceeds from the duck race today
I
are
miss
going
him,
to
man.
Tuna. If you just want to donate and just send them some extra money, you can also just Venmo Mitch at MitchellRins365 for that as well. That's the way we're going to be able to help them out and donate, because with YouTube, it goes through a lot of other stuff. So Venmo is the easiest way, and we'll just be able to send that to Kristen and Big Tuna's family.
Exactly. Like, I wanted to be able to figure out ways where we can have fun, which I think we're so good on this show. And I mean, like, when I say this show, I also mean you guys, right? Like, you guys get that this is how Chugs and I provide for our families, and we do crazy shit all the time. But we also we try to show love to y'all, and yeah, man, when you lose somebody that's like that to you, and I can't even believe how much it has impacted me, and I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody from Mount Raidermore, but like talking to Brandon as often as what everybody did for the past 3-4 months, man, I mean, it was
and
unbelievable.
Raider Vision, no, I just looked at him. I just looked him up. Vinny did not tweet out that it's a done deal.
What?
You might be looking at the wrong account, buddy.
It could just be a troll.
Yeah.
Could just be a troll.
Yeah. Or you just got bad information or looking at a fake account, but
yeah, very true.
Nothing happened yet. You know what has happened?
Bang!
Tuna. Welcome home to the nation above that never loses. Stafford would make Tuna very happy.
Dude, I know for a fact Brandon always just wanted to win, and just a great overall dude. Actually, Nabman, check out, can you show the picture of him feeding? I think it was a goose or a duck or something like that. Like somebody sent me this picture. It was in the Mount Raidermore group chat. Like Brandon was one of these type of dudes where he was such a good person. We're like, how many times have you ever seen a human being just hand feeding a duck? He's not ducking around. You want to know a guy that loves a good duck race? But like this is the type of person Brandon was, man. He was just all about giving back, showing love to the nation. He was about showing love to, people that were close to him. He was legitimately one of the nicest human beings I have ever had the privilege to talk to. I wish I could have shaken hands. I guess I wasn't as lucky as that duck. But Brandon would literally feed you peas on the sidewalk if he had.
Whether it was on a live show or just on his daily life, we know Brandon loved himself a duck race.
Oh, dude. He's not ducking around. You know who's also not ducking around? Matt Flutie! Bang! I mean, at this point, we're going to have to catch up.
Never met the man, the myth, the legend we all know as the great Tuna. Let's party in his name and make him proud. Can I get a Raiders for the great Tuna?
For the great Tuna.
Shout out to Flutie. Shout out to Tuna, and shout out to everybody out there. And somebody who you were talking about catching up always has a little catching up to do. Our man, L.A. Crash Dog. Bang! Just got off work and wanted to pay my respects to my brother Brandon. I'm glad I got to talk with him again the day before he passed, because the day he passed was really difficult. Locals for the best content, personal interaction, and weekly live shows. Not anymore, but when Brandon was around, yes. R.I.P. Miss you, bro. Semper Fi. Raider Nation for life. And just because you and Brandon, I also do want to also flash this. For anybody, I know this is near and dear to your heart, Crash Dog. If you want to support, we're all about our veterans here on the Raiders Report. Go to saberwarrior.org/donate. Tell them Father Tom sent you. If you want to help out some, former Army, Marine, Navy, people who served this country, help them out once they're here back at home, some veterans. Make sure to go to saberwarrior.org/donate and tell them that Father Tom sent you.
Tell them Father Tom sent you. Again, man, I know we have a lot of tuna spins here, and there's already been a lot of crazy stuff that has happened on the show. Chugs, you owe a boot. I already did mine. I'm going to take some shots. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty full right now on some of those beers. I've kind of forgotten how different it is chugging beers compared to the Happy Dads, where the Happy Dads don't have as much carbonation, which is why we drink them all the time now. Dude, you put down a few beers. I don't know how many beers I've put down. My stomach feels like it's gonna explode. We're gonna keep the party rocking though. But today is all about showing love to one of our brothers, and I think for a lot of people out there, you've never met Brandon, but I know this for a fact. Brandon donated probably 5-6 like Raiders Report jerseys, and I can remember last year. It was, I'm not kidding you when I say this, it was literally like 6 or 7 straight shows where he just sent in a $500 Venmo and said, I want to be able to give away a jersey to some Raiders fans. And dude, he did it all the time because that's how Brandon was, dude. Like, he was such a good person. And I mean this, the world needs more Brandons. Like, you need more people that just always have your back, are always going to try to put a smile on your face. And I don't know if Zahn's here right now. Zahn, I hope you're here. But, like, Zahn is, Zahn's a bullshitter. And I always have gotten along with people that, are going to tell it to you straight. And Zahn is as straight as a shooter as Navman. But even Brandon, like Brandon could throw a few jabs at David a few times, and it was almost like this, stepbrother type of relationship that, I talk all the time on these shows, but sometimes when I would join those FaceTimes with all these people, I wouldn't say anything. It would just be those two going back and forth. So that was really cool. I saved this one for you. Raider! Run! Bang! I wanted to be able to give, the MVP of today's show, and I honestly thought, maybe I shouldn't do MVP, this or that. Well, this has still got a little bit of a fart left in it. I'll do. I'm not kidding you. You should try to do one out of that. It's crazy. But Brandon always loved a good competition. And, yeah, you can even ask Dave, right? And Ron or any of these guys that talk to him all the time. He always loved a good competition. So we're going to do a competition today. And this is all I'm going to say. You're going to get guaranteed a Panda Sups bag. On top of that, you're going to get a guaranteed Panda Sups, which I don't know if you guys remember me saying this. He's about to start doing Raiders colored stuff because I keep yelling at him for having anything red. And then I bought Brandon something. And it's a medium because I'm just going to tell you that was Brandon's size. It was a medium. And I bought him something.
I refuse to call you Hit Stick, by the way.
That's fine. I don't know if anybody's going to call me Hit Stick.
I refuse to go with the name Hit Stick.
But if you're the MVP on today's show, which right now is Ryan Campbell, I am going to send you something that I was going to send to Brandon. It's kind of a gag gift. I'm not going to lie. That's hot, dude. It's hot every time I see it in person. I'm not going to lie to you. I almost feel like we got to poke a hole in that thing. Do you poke a hole in the front or the back or both? That'd actually be kind of fun. If we poked a hole in both sides of that, you'd have to plug up one side to chug out of it. Terrible idea. It's just bad idea after bad idea here on this show. You know what we do owe, though? We owe a lot of spins. Lots and lots of spins we owe. Oh, no, Ron. I don't know what that is. Bro, I'll tell you, I think Brandon... I think Brandon's trying to give away some ducks. All right, here we go. Just give me a sec. At 30-second, $10 shot clock. Go. $10 fireball shot clock. We gotta get through some of these. We are behind, man. Very, very far behind, man. Jesus criminy. Holy shit, man. I think you guys should spam Raider Ron. Because that guy's a freaking madman. He's crazy, dude. It's crazy, man. Crazy dude, man. He said, do it, Hit Stick. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Faluhi! All right, we got 3 seconds. 2, 1. Spin the wheel. We're going to do a minute on each of these. Dude. All right. I was going to say, we owe a boot. All right, we owe a boot. We owe a boot. Ron already did it. We owe a boot. 3 free ducks. So that means the next 3 people that get in the duck race, you get a free duck. The next 3, which also means I need to let me get my Venmo here in check because, dude, I can't believe we owe another boot. That's devastating and great at the exact same time. All right, All right, hang on. David, Jonathan. All right, last name I got was Jonathan. So, funny enough, 93 Navman, you're going to get a duck. I see Charles, you're going to get a duck. And then Brian also gets a duck. All right. I see Edgar. I see David, Vergara. All right, David, hang on. David, I'm going to give you 2 ducks because I just saw what you did. 2 ducks, and I'm going to take a shot. No, Jesus. Justine in. I spelled it wrong. Justine Gons in. And Gabriel Ruiz in. All right, so hear me out. $20 Venmo, you win $620, which also means $620 is going to Kristen. A lot. Yep. I mean, yeah. No. I don't think. I'll talk to him. Okay. I'll talk to him. Dude, I'll tell you this right now. Ron is an absolute madman. Raider! Ron! Bang! Dude! Raider Ron said in the message for my brother Brandon, R.I.P. I want some Raider Rons down below. I want some Tunas down below. Tuna, I hope you hear me from up there. Come on, Ron! You know what? I want to do this. Brandon Jasper! Oh, the great, great Tuna. For the Tuna, the great Tuna. All right, so, Ron, I got you. Dude, unbelievable. So that means it's 620. Yep. Dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Raider frickin' Ron, man. Raider frickin' Ron, man. I'll tell you what, dude, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, you can't even. Raider frickin' Ron, man. All right, let's spin this bad boy. I love this. All right, so for anybody that doesn't know this joke, you guys get 60 seconds. We got to get 100 locals down in the chat for a beer bong. Locals, locals, locals! Oh, dude. We got to get 100 locals. You got 60 seconds to do it. 100 locals. It's easy. It's so easy. A caveman could do it. Do you think we're going to get there? You're going to give a few shout-outs? I got to write these down. Timmy Jones, you in?
There.
Anthony Green, you in?
Anthony, Navman,
Huerta,
Noah,
you in?
Joshua, Misty, Ryan, Robert, James, Sucker Free, Jared, Josh, God Family and Raiders. We have Matt Fluhey, Michael, Navman, Husker, Steven, Misty, Timmy, King, Darren, James, Dan. We've got Timmy, King. Keep on coming. We got Artie, Anthony, Focus, King Sanchez, Dario, Anthony Sandoval, Taino, Trivan is in the building. We have Shithawk, Sir Dre, Chris.
Dude, Shithawk is wild. Shithawk is a wild statement. Shithawk. You have all these names to choose from. And you're like, I got to go with Shithawk. This is not good. That's not good at all. That's terrible news, quite frankly. All right, I'm going to tell you this. They're not going to be big shots. If you want me to do full shots, you better bang, all right? I will pour up a full shot for a bang. If not, it's going to hit my lips. Tequila is devastating news right now for this guy. We got 34 minutes of this happy hour left. I'm telling you what right now, this is going to be interesting. And I think we got 100 locals. Quite frankly, even if we didn't, I was going to do this one for Brandon. Which, I didn't know that you added that one. 100 locals. That statement with no context is one of the craziest things I've ever said. Raider Ron, I got you. Yoda! Let's go! All right, that's at least one. I'll tell you what, man. I might have to call to the bullpen here in a little bit. Though Avery did say she'd be down to party with us a little bit. I might have to call to that bullpen because y'all are kicking my ass right now. All right, so I definitely got to take one here for Yoda. And again, the only way that I feel like this show is fun is if you guys are at home with me and I've been actually trying to drink a lot less since the wedding. But I tell people this all the time. Figure out a way to participate where there's sometimes I've done this before. Watch a shit show and try to work out to it. Where every time somebody bangs, right, it's like I'm going to do 10 push-ups or something like that. See if you can get through an entire show. I did it the other day. It's tough. It's tough. Yoda. Does Patron go bad? Because that's awful. Dude, we got to start getting limes, man.
He's at the Combine, Rebel.
Yeah, he's at the Combine. So our guys down at the Combine are Chase, Marsh, Petey, Chip, Sam. I think that's everyone. Oh, all right. Same. So Jeremy couldn't finish his lunch today, so I was able to get half of that. There's never been a sandwich that I didn't finish. I'm not kidding you. Like, you could put down, if you put down a 24-inch sub in front of me, I'm finishing that 100 times out of 100. You're telling me you couldn't eat 2 foot-long subs? Subway, foot-long sub. You couldn't eat 2.
How much stuff is on that?
Doesn't matter.
If it's like triple meat.
You would. Dude, I'm finishing. There's no way I'm leaving. Y for yes, N for no. Are you finishing every sandwich you get? The answer is yes. I can't do tequila anymore. I don't even know.
Favorite tuna memory?
Oh, I love this. My favorite tuna memory. In all honesty, it was probably wearing. So, have you guys ever seen? I've worn like the Jasper 18 jersey, and Jasper's in red. So the random funny story behind that was we ordered the jersey, and we order custom jerseys all the time through our jerseys partner. and it came. The jersey was red, and we were like, "What the heck? Like why? Like why would it do this? Never happened before." I've ordered probably 200 jerseys, and they've all come the right way. They've all been Raiders jerseys, but for whatever reason, that one showed up red. I messaged Brandon about it, and I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. Your jersey, it's effed up." He loved it. But he's from Nebraska. He's a big Nebraska fan. He's like, it's a Raiders and Nebraska jersey all wrapped in one. Oh, dude, he loved corn the long way, no butter. That was Brandon's favorite dessert. Corn for dessert's crazy. But he wasn't even upset about it, and I was like, all right, like that's cool. But again, Nebraska fan. And then I forget what he did exactly, but I wore that jersey on Christmas when the Raiders beat the Chiefs, and it was like a Christmas jersey, and it was unbelievable. Husker, go Big Red. Husker also is a big Nebraska fan, if you don't know. But off the top of my head right now, that's probably one of my favorite memories that I have of Brandon. What about you? What do you got?
I was going to say the red jersey, and then also it making an appearance on our Christmas cards.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
That's the one you wore because you were like, oh, it's red.
Yeah, that is true. Well, it wasn't just the Christmas card. I thought it was also.
Oh, yeah, it was a holiday card.
I was going to say, you were on there. So, yeah. Also, driving! Bang! Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable driving for my man, Brandon Jasper. Unbelievable. Somebody said Kristen Rhodes is in the house. Let her know what we are doing. What up, Kristen? I don't know how this hit stick name got going, man. I don't know how it got going. R.I.P. to the great Tuna, man. So, all right, so from what it sounds like, Brandon's significant other is watching this show right now. And I want to show her how many Tunas, how many Brandons, how many BJs we can put down in the chat below. Kristen, from the bottom of my heart, I mean this. I am so, so sorry, and it can't even begin to justify. Can you show some of the pictures real quick? I only have a few pictures from Brandon, and I went through some of my DMs to find them. But here's one that he sent me right when he first got a boot. I love this. This is hilarious, by the way. This next picture, this is the type of dude Brandon was. And I actually hope that I'm allowed to show this, but he sent it to me. He wrote Jeremy and I in for obviously something that we have no business being a part of. I went through all of my old DMs with Brandon, and I was like, I got to find some of these pictures. This one made me LOL, and I couldn't believe that he did it. And I can remember when he sent me the photo, he's like, dude, look what I did. And I mean, like, Brandon was just always about trying to put a smile on your face. And again, anybody that's trying to feed ducks, I'm guessing these are peas. They're either peas or Legos, and I think they're peas. I think they're peas. I mean, what else is green besides marsh? Somebody's like, bro, you need to go home. But Brandon always was about putting a smile on somebody's face. And Kristen, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Brandon's name is remembered. Also, we're going to be sending you some money today to just help with some of the crap that I'm sure that you're probably dealing with right now. So I do have your Venmo. I got it through, we know him as 93. You might know him as Rob. Rob, which I don't know if she knows like the first full name or like if you want that to be out there. But I have your Venmo information. I requested you as a friend, and I'm going to send you some money after today's show. And right now, it's a good amount of money, and I hope that it helps out. Bottom line. Let's get some tunas down below. Now, man, let's get more in the duck race. Let's make it a G. Well, it's already over a G. Let's get it up there a little bit more. So right now, a $20 Venmo, you would get, hang on, $20 Venmo, right now you would get What, ducks do? That's actually incredible. Right now, $1,150 is what goes to Kristen. If you want to get in the duck race, you would win $650. Okay? That's how this is. Duck race, 20 to win, $650. Which actually, now that I'm looking at it, this is just, we're not even close. Diego Banda, you in. Brian Avila, you in. Chris Torres, in. Rob Fravor, you in. Miggy Camacho. What up, Miggy? You in. All right, hang on. What do you got for me, Can't? What you got for me, Can't? I got you, Can't Walk. I got you, Can't Walk. All right, I also got to send you something. Okay, and then one more thing. Raymond Sanchez in. Raider Ron in. Thaddeus, that last name you got is pretty bonkers, man. 20 to win right now. $720 is the Venmo. One for my bro, Brandon. You know, Trivan was also one of these guys that, again, he's been a part of this show for a really, really long time. And, you know, Trivan's one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met, and I've had the opportunity, you know, to meet Trivan. If you want to see a funny video of us kind of catching him off guard, it's on the Raiders Report channel. But Trivan also was like one of the very first people that I think showed, like, all right, we got to always just give back to the nation as much as we possibly can. He was on a bunch of FaceTime calls, I know, with Brandon, and I got your back, Trivan. What up, Nav? In the house, Kristen Rhodes. Kristen Rhodes in the house. We got 23 minutes left of this happy hour, man. I sent you a message. If you could check on it, that would be great. Come on, Chugs. I'll do a boot. I got from the Raider channel. Memorable item. First drink from it. Let's have a boot. Do you want to call in, Ron, and do a boot? Is that what you're saying? If that answer is yes, just honestly just FaceTime me. It's probably the easiest way. How about this? Everybody in that Mount Raidermore chat, if you want to call right now, at the very end of today's show, we'll do one. I don't know if it's going to be a boot from me. I'll be real. I'll give you a bong. If I do another boot, somebody rip a gong because I'm going to be on a stretcher. Eric, what if we trade both third rounders for Kupp and Stafford? Think that's possible, or would LA want more? I actually don't think that they would even get a third rounder for Kupp. If it was a way to just absolutely smooth off the deal, I don't love the value, but we are able to go out and get a great quarterback in Matthew Stafford. The problem is, though, you're taking on that contract then for Cooper Kupp, which, be real, I don't love that. So I'm not interested in Kupp. How about that? If they want to say, no, you got to take Kupp, I'm going to say then it's got to be a fourth. Who? Mr. Jackson? Also, we got a tie. Ryan Campbell! Bang! My man! Ryan Campbell said, I need another tuna wheel spin. All right. Beer bongs are probably going to have to hold off. Quite frankly, Ryan, if you're like Mitch, you don't have to do it. I got to do it, though. Ugh. Fireball. I think we got to stick with Fireball from here on out. I'll go up. All right, so if we get 500 tunas in 60 seconds, it's a shot. We need 500 tunas down below. There's 560 people watching. Come on, man. We could do it. 100 locals was easy. I mean, that's easy. This is a little bit more of a challenge, but I know you can do it. You got 60 seconds to do it. Don't do it for me. Come on. I see Jersey Boy, CP3. I got Timmy Jones. What up, Big Luck? Raider Ron, Jersey. We got Edgar Flores, Richard Kopp, Hutzker Raider, Steven Gutierrez, Ira Jackson. Come on, man. For the great Tuna. What up, John? Gilbert. Oh, I got to burp. No, that's somebody's name. I got to burp. Yoda Jenkins. Big Luck. Keep them coming, man. Keep them coming, man. What do we got? Moment that you knew you were a Raider fan for life. Give me when did you know? When did you know you're like, bro, I'm a Raider fan for life?
I know Tuna was a true as they come womb to the tomb. Like, Brandon lived, he died by the shield and was, I mean, he was for the nation, by the nation, with the nation, around the nation. Everything for the nation was Brandon Jasper. So, in honor of him, the great Tuna, let me know the moment you knew you were a Raider fan for life, because maybe one of the most passionate Raider fans I've ever known has been Brandon Jasper.
But I also think like what Brandon was best at was like making people know that, you know, when you're a Raider fan, like you're rooting for a football team, but you're joining the family. And man, like Brandon's a big reason why I am a Raiders fan. He's a big reason why the Raiders don't win a lot. I don't know if you guys know that, right? So I'm a Raiders fan because y'all are always there for me. And at the end of the day, like, that's all you can ask for. I want somebody that's always there for me. I want people that are always there for me. And Raider Nation always shows up. No doubt. Chugs, check IG message from Kristen. I'm guessing that's for you. I don't know if it's for me. I got no idea. Though.
Oh.
What?
I got you.
Gotcha?
You sent me some more photos.
Ooh, all right. I want to see some photos. All right, so it's going to take us a second or two to get those uploaded, just so you know. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, but we'll get there. So we are live right now on the Raiders Report, and going into the off season, we're going to be live probably every Tuesday and Thursday is how we'll end up doing it. If there is also some other, oh wow, they're really cool. If there's also some other, breaking news or whatever, like I'll go live for that type of stuff. I will say this, I am going to really try to limit how crazy we get on this show all the time. If there's breaking news, it's a shit show. Like, if it's a move that I like, which you guys will be able to tell, I'm down to party. I'm down to have a good time all the time. Because I'm just like y'all, when the Raiders do something, like I want to celebrate it, and I want to celebrate with y'all. But, like, we're going to do a bunch of shows in free agency, the draft. I mean, we're going to, like, for free agency, we're going to be live that entire week. Where Monday through Friday, we'll be live that entire week. But in the off season, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Thursdays, I'll probably do that final hour on Thursdays. It's going to be a happy hour. Which,
Here we go.
You never know. All right, I can see these photos, and I'm excited for y'all to see them. Kristen, thank you very much for sending those to us. I greatly appreciate it. That's amazing. These are going to be cool. David, you, sir, are in the Duck Race. David, you in.
All right, and then I just got
Jansen, Miggy, Navman. Navman says 1971, born a Raider. Peter said late August, early September 1978, my cousin Nick Lavaca introduced me to this legendary franchise when they were winning. Stars like Kenny Stabler and Fred Bolendikoff really caught my eye. That's a cool story, Peter. Also, you want to hear another really cool story? Marcus!
And Zola! Bang!
Come on, man.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
What?
My niece just sent me this short on YouTube, and it's me grittying at Allegiant.
Dude, that has a shit ton of views.
And she's 9 years old.
That's elite.
And she goes, "Is this you?"
It actually has a lot of views.
Really?
Yes. That weekend, that was August 14th. It's a Wednesday. Again, it is cemented in my mind somehow. It's actually the most popular one we did that week. Think about how many things we recorded. It is. It's the top one. All right, I want to show some picks here. So what's really cool about this first picture is I'm going to guess. So we call Brandon Tuna because his dad's nickname was Tuna. And it's probably this picture's got to be 2 years ago is my guess. You can actually see Brandon has that Real One for Life shirt on, which we were talking about earlier in today's show. But that's Brandon and his dad. That's actually really cool. And then, that's Brandon, though. Welcome to the gun show. That's actually hilarious. Honestly, if Buddy Bear wears that shirt, there's a third arrow, and I'll let you know where it's pointing. Not a doubt in my mind. Not a doubt in my mind.
I do know he loved his dad so flippin' much.
I mean, we call Brandon, and we renamed the shot clock. It used to be called shot clock, and then Brandon always wanted to play shot clock, so we were like, all right, we're just gonna call it Tuna clock, and it's kind of stuck. I mean, we say it all the time, and I think people know. Sacktown Raider Mike, happy birthday, man! 62 years old. That's freaking awesome, dude.
Hell
62?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We
owe a wheel spin.
Yes. Also, Sheffy.
It's a great jersey, Chef. One of the things Brandon was great with on Raidermore video chat was top 5. I don't know how we can make it work into the show.
I remember.
He was like top 5 drummers of all time.
Yes. I remember I
can't name
I popped into the Raidermore group chat one time, and they were on a FaceTime call. I popped in. It was him, Ira, and I think Navman. I think it was the 4 of us. And he goes, all right, Chugs, top 5 80s bands. And I go, I think I might only know 5 80s bands. He was like, 80s rock bands. I was like, I don't know. Metallica?
Green Day? No, I don't know.
They were always doing it was talking the latest Raiders news, everything that's going on, everything that was going on in everybody's life.
Yep.
And then it was, all right, it would divulge into top 5 whatever. Top 5 cookies, top 5 whatever, top 5 Raiders He was like top 5 Raiders quarterbacks of all time, and I was like, Brandon, I don't know if we really want to do this list. I don't know if it's
how much time you got?
I don't know if it's a great list.
There's somebody watching right now like, Derek Carr's number 1. Derek Carr, Derek Carr, Derek Carr, Derek Carr, Derek Carr.
Big luck, Kristen. Thank you for sharing Tuna with us.
That's your list.
Forever grateful.
We can't be friends. If that's your list, we can't be friends.
Yeah, for real, Kristen. Thank you for because I mean, he honestly did spend a lot of time hanging out with us.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
During the draft, free agency, which we have coming up here on the channel. I mean, Brandon was one of the guys who, in the dog days, and why we absolutely loved him, he loved the Madden streams.
Yes. Did he love Madden? I mean, I mean, I can remember a lot of our locals conversations where I'm not kidding you. Like, we would do some of those, and this is like 2 years ago. We did shows like on another platform. They were trying to get going, and it is what it is. But like, we would do shows on there, and there was a few people like Husker would pull up. Aaron Devandry, he would always be there. Patrick B would always show up, and like there'd be at times where it would literally just be like me doing a live show, and there's like 4 people in there, and I'm talking, and everyone's just communicating with me through that. I mean, it was really cool, honestly. But Brandon was always there for that, man. But honestly, Kristen, thank you. Because this show we do a lot of stuff, and we take a lot of time away from people, and I'm sure like that's time that you wish you could have back, and quite frankly, I wish I could get a lot more time with them, man. All right, let's spin this wheel.
Rebel says, I checked my DMs and Tuna messaged me whenever I spewed on the show.
But like that's the type of shit he would do all the time. If you're gonna spew.
Okay, here we go.
2 free ducks. He's doing it again. All right, so that means the next 2 people that get in the duck race, you get a free duck. Next 2 people, we're giving 2 ducks away. I'm not ducking around. Who's getting them? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'll tell you this. It's going to be fun to find out. Rebel, that's an amazing story, dude. If anybody else has a story like that for Brandon, I wonder if I was going to say, like, I wonder if I looked it up. Like, if people could look up, like, I bet you this, if you've ever done something crazy on this show, and if your name is similar, I guess, to what it is on YouTube, he probably found you. He probably sent you something, because he would do that shit all the time. Like that story right there by Rebel is pretty legendary.
Yeah.
I actually hate admitting this out loud, because like Brandon was obviously a rock of a dude here. I actually was amazed on how much it hit me when it hit me, because I hopped on a call with, it was what, Nabman and Wild One, because I got a text from Zon, and honestly, it was like right before our Raiders live show on Tuesday, man. You weren't here on that day, but I mean, it hit me like a truck. And it kind of is crazy where you never meet somebody, but it has that impact on you. But that was Brandon. He was a great glue guy, and you need glue guys in the world today. Gotta get the glue.
And I mean, he was always someone just down to hang out and grab a beer.
Do hood rat shit with your friends, man. When I was in middle school, do you remember that song? It was like, I think it was called Pop Bottles. It was like dude, I'm trying to think of that. And them pop bottles. But it was talking about doing hood rat shit. And I can't remember, but my buddies and I, we used to be like, what are you doing tonight? And we used to always say, oh, we're just doing hood rat shit with our hood rat friends. Like, Brandon was just down to have a good time.
Raider DB.
All right, we got some people here. Nicholas Potter, you get a free one. Mr. Potter, you get a free one. And then Buck Kirk, you, sir, get a free one. Dude, this is getting up there. So this means $20 Venmo, and you're going home with $830. $830. That's unbelievable. I will say this, though. I'm going to send Kristen the money first, because sometimes on Venmo, when you send a lot of money, it'll like lock you out of an account for 24 hours. So I'm just going to tell you this ahead of time. If you win, I swear to you, you will get the money. But that's going to be my priority first. So I'm going to send the money to Kristen first. She's going to get that. And then if it locks me out for 24 hours, you're just going to get it tomorrow. You know where to find me. I'm not running. But quite frankly, she's going to get paid first. So I hope you don't have a problem with that.
Raider DB, R.I.P. Tuna, rest in paradise, King. Prayers and condolences to Kristen and a very loud Raiders. Big Luck, I don't think we missed your duck. I think we got you. Is Big Luck in?
Well, the problem with Big Luck is I don't know if it's not usually his name. Big Luck. I feel like if I see it, I'll know. I don't think I missed it because I have been very vigilant.
Navman said, I told her you would send $1 first. I can relay. Is if you want to send her a dollar just to make sure.
Let me look it up here. Well, is there a way, Kristen? I sent you a friend request. It's Mitchell Renz 365. Though I don't really know how to look this up on here. All right, I got to do it off screen. We got 4 minutes left, Kristen. I promise I'll send you $1, even if I gotta. We'll figure it out. Mo Chavez, Ian. Mo.
And then Jersey Boy did say R.I.P. Tuna. Didn't know him personally, but my condolences to his family and friends. Raise a glass for the Big Tune.
For the Big Tune is actually hilarious. I'm looking it up on Venmo, and I'm just not finding my contacts. Man, you sent it to me, right? Yeah, man already sent it to me. I'll find it. All right.
Or if Navman's already connected with Kristen, you could send it via that way. I don't know which one's easier for everybody involved.
I'm going to do it the right way. I just need to be able to spell correctly, and spelling is not one of my strong suits right now. Yeah,
I do know one of your strong suits is this, though.
Raider! Run! Bang! All right. Give me another tuna wheel spin.
Ron said if he wins, you can send it all to Kristen.
Holy shit, dude. That's legendary.
Which we had a feeling like a lot of people would have that sentiment.
But I also
we didn't want to force it.
If you want to do that, that's amazing. But also at the same time, you have the opportunity. You put money in. You have the opportunity to go home with $830 plus right now. Like that's a huge amount of money, and I want you to be able to keep that if you win it. You don't have to feel like that you got to give back. If you want to, obviously, that's great.
Oh.
What? What did it land on?
4 bangs equals another boot for me.
That's bad.
All right, I'll just do it till the end of happy hour. That'll be it.
That'll be
the end.
All right.
Oh.
Kristen, I just sent you $1. Can you just confirm that you got it? I'm guessing because we have a mutual friend in Brandon Jasper, it's you. But that's who I have. All right, y'all. So here's what we're going to do.
Last chance.
Oh, man. That's one. Oh, that's one. Oh, no. So what? That's 3 more? If we get 3 more in 60 seconds.
Oh, you're talking about?
Yeah, dude.
Yoda!
Jenkins! Bang! Shit, dude.
Ooh.
43 seconds. I'll tell you this. I will do it. We're gonna. It's gotta be at the end. The boot.
Oh.
Like
You'll do it? I was going to do it.
God bless you.
Oh, God. 3 more 50s, and we've got a boot.
We could split it. We could try to drink it at the same time.
Half in the ass, half in the pimp.
See, then we would have to poke a hole.
Navman!
Navman! Bang! Uh-oh. 3, 2, 1.
We'll let the facts roll in for the next 30 seconds.
Fax machine. Dude, we've been screwed over by the fax machine too many times.
A good amount.
Oh, you know what? Wow.
Alley-oop, slam, I gotcha, Yoda.
Dude. All right, technically, what I just sent you was sent 4 minutes ago. Mark K. Bang! Oh, God. It's the last thing I'm going to do. But actually, Matt Fluhy Bang!
Okay.
Holy shit, dude.
This seems like the ending of a Tuna show. Is us saying, "Oh shit."
Yep. This is I don't always know how we get here.
Tuna would be happy.
I feel like one of those in-sync puppets right now, and Tuna's just above pulling all the strings. He's like, this is playing perfectly into my hand right now. He's going to DM me later and tell me about it. He's also going to be like, dude, remember that time Rebel spewed all over you? I do.
Oh, he said, okay,
I love you, Reb.
Kristen said she got the $1, so whenever we're ready to send over the full amount we can to Kristen.
Oh, dude, this is going to be cool.
So, last chance to get in. Once we get everybody in, we're going to send the first amount to Kristen to help her out, help out Tuna's family.
Correct.
And then I was thinking about what I was going to do, but I have to do a classic duck race. It has to be the OG duck race.
I think that's fair. I mean, he's literally feeding a duck. I really think it's got to be a duck race. All right, so here's what's going to happen. If we don't get anybody else in, okay, nobody else is getting in, okay? I want to be able to send the... How about this? It's a $20 Venmo right now to get in. For you, it's $840. That's how much you would win if you get in the duck race. The moment the duck race starts, I will send the money to Kristen. Sound good?
All right. If you want to send me
the names. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Kristen, you are in this race. I paid for that one on the top, and I also put one in for Tuna. So if it lands on Tuna or Kristen, you get the whole shebang. Which, dude, I'm not going to lie. That's going to be iconic if it happens. That's going to be iconic. All right, so 84 people are in this one. I need you to add Suavemente for me. Bah. Dude, Suave, what's up, my brother? This duck race is going to be iconic. $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 for the great Tuna.
Are we ready?
I almost feel like we got to get peas. Like, what's a healthy way we could do Tuna Clock? Every good vibe that Muerte sends in, you got to eat a pea. Eat your greens. Eat your greens. All right, I'm going to refresh one more time. George Torres, who could also be known as Jorge Torres. No, I didn't change my pronunciation of the last name at all. The other night, Alex's mom and her sister, they were trying to teach me to roll R's. I know, but they do it so easily, and then they look at you like, why can't you do that? It just doesn't happen.
How many shuffles do we do?
All right, first off, all right, I'm not accepting anymore because I'm sending Kristen some money. So, this is going to be cool. All right, this is cool. All right, Kristen. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Sent. Kristen, can you please confirm down below that you just received $1,350? That's amazing. To everybody in the chat right now, we do a lot of crazy shenanigans on this show, but damn it, that's one of the most proud things that I have ever done on here, and everybody that participated. I don't care if you didn't send $1 on this show. If you hit that like button, if you commented down below the moment you hit subscribe. Dude, this is an amazing community we've been able to build here. This is an amazing family we've been able to build here, and I hope I never have to go through what you went through. And everybody sitting here is thinking that exact same thing. I can remember when my mom lost her significant other. That was a really difficult time for our family, and there's a lot of just costs that you can't even believe are costs. I know it's not going to help with everything, but I hope it helps a little bit. And damn it, I'm happy that we were able to do that. So I'm not going to start this race until Kristen can kind of confirm with me down below that, she received that money. And then once we do, somebody else going to win $850.
Navman said she got it.
She got it? Cool, man. That's really cool. And then, Kristen, I promise, I don't know, from what I've heard, you might not be a Raiders fan. But I hope that today, can convert you a little bit. And I know that, the silver and black's always going to be in your heart a little bit because of Brandon.
Yeah, she put that she got it.
She got it? That's amazing. But, hey, I promise you this. You always got a family here. You can always pull up. You can always watch.
Kristen,
we would love to have you.
Stay tuned because you are in this race.
You are in this race.
And the great Tuna is in this race. And, I mean, would there be any other sign? Like, I don't care if you believe in.
If somebody asked me what the most unbelievable moment would be on this show's history, I would say right now, off the top of my head, from what I can remember, the final 5 seconds of the 26-hour live we did for McDaniels, Raider Ron sending in a $6,000 Venmo one time for me to get a Raiders leg sleeve tattoo. I would say Gimmel, when we gave away $2,600 that one time. One day we gave away $4,400. This is in my top 5.
Yeah.
If Kristen or Tuna win this, it's in my top 5.
Here we go.
You ready? When Zahn won March Madness, that's about to start. Dude, this is going to be iconic. Here we go. Good luck to everybody. John Scheffler, bad news for you, John. Thanks for your donation. John's the most unlucky person. He knows it. He's like, it was fun while we were playing. Kristen's got a little bit of a lead. Kristen, you got to back it up a little bit though. Scott and Renee, Buck Kirk's down there just chilling. I think Flu, he heard me. Flu, he also stole your Texans helmet. You're gonna need that back. Miguel Ruiz, that's not really how I pictured your hair looking. Jack Hossel looks like he itches. Jason Goots. Oh, man, it's starting to fall back here. Nicholas Potter. Dart fat ass. I don't know why you look like that, but it's creeping me out, man. 10 seconds. Somebody's going to go home. $850. Husker Raider. Husker Raider. Husker Raider. I mean, he is the only other known Nebraska fan that we have on this show.
That's kind of wild.
That is effing wild, man. Husker Raider.
And look at Kristen's chat that she put in. Not the one about the Lucky Charm, but look at the one before that. What did she say?
I love the Raiders, but love the Cornhuskers more. I mean, that's chills, dude. You know what also is chills? Do you see what he just said?
I didn't. He said, give it all to Kristen.
I don't want a dime.
That's a real one right there. Husker. That's a real one, bro.
All right, so. Dude.
$850 more dollars
Hang on.
coming your way, Kristen.
Hang on. Hang on a second here. Hang on a second here. Hang on a second here. All right, so what's the math on that?
That would be
$1,350 plus $850.
$2,200.
Wow. 22. That's really amazing, y'all.
Maybe I did the math wrong. Maybe it's 2,400.
You could have said any number that ended in 2 zeros, and I would have said yes.
I think it's 2,200. But maybe my math is off.
Robert's sitting there like, this is unbelievable, guys. Ron says 24, but I feel like that math doesn't check out at all. Or does it check out?
Maybe I'm. Hold on.
See, now Fluhy says 24. Uh-oh. 24, yeah. I mean, here's the problem.
No, I'm right.
What?
I'm right. I just did the math on my phone.
$1,350 plus $850. Yeah. I love that somebody just Fluhy put 2,400. Dude, that's hilarious.
Dude, I mean, like I was saying before, like I feel like this is almost a sign. Like this is from Tuna. Like I don't know. I don't believe in like signs as much and stuff like that, but
That was cool, man.
I mean for out of everybody in that race, he's a huge Nebraska Cornhusker fan. The only other Nebraska Cornhusker fan and Amir Abdullah #1 fan in the chat is Husker Raider.
Oh, dude, that's amazing. I know. Somebody said Husker's still going. He was still running that race. All right, so here's what we got to do. I owe you a boot. I owe you a boot. Or a boot's gotta go down. Desi, well done, Husker. Gotta love the nation. So I wanted to do this, and I'm a man that likes to make deals. Well, I was gonna do this. I'm a man that likes a good deal. Okay? I'm a man that likes a good deal. I want to do something Tuna Clock related to end this show. Tuna Clock was always shots. Okay? Always shots. And I don't need to drink anything more. Okay? I don't need to drink anything more. But if you're watching this show, okay, and you appreciated everything that went down today, I want to figure out a way to do some sort of Tuna Clock. Like, do we do it like good vibes? Tuna had a jersey. He had an 18 jersey. He had a 53 jersey. He had a bunch of stuff. Can we get, how about this? I just want everyone to spam Tuna down below. I don't even know what to do for a shot clock, and I don't feel like I need any more to drink. I want to get as many Tunas as I can down below. Mad love to Kristen as well. Unbelievable. Today's show was absolutely unbelievable, man. $2,200. And still not even enough. Though, Kristen Nabman, if you're here, am I allowed to tell them what y'all told me the other day, man, about like the Raiders stuff, that's up to you. If you say yes, because I think Brandon did something pretty cool. All right. All right, y'all. As soon as I get done with this, I am done. All right, so man said yes. So when I was talking to Natman and Wild One the other day, Brandon apparently is one of his last wishes, wow, was that everything that he has Raiders related, we would give back to Raider Nation. So throughout the entirety of this entire offseason, maybe even a little bit into the regular season, I don't know how much stuff it is. I know it's a lot of Raiders stuff, though. He wanted to be able to give it back to the nation. And so, like, we do a lot of stuff where, we do, like, raffles and that kind of stuff. We're still going to do raffles, but we're going to donate some of that money as well to a charity of we'll talk to Kristen and Navman. We'll talk to some people that are in this. But, I want to be able to raise some money. I want to be able to do more of this stuff because it feels good to be able to do it, but we need to be able to put good energy out into the world because good energy creates good energy. And when you put good energy out in the world, good shit happens. And, I think today's show is absolute proof of that. So keep the tunas rolling. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one more boot. We can't sing closing time, but y'all can start singing it in your head if you want. Chugs, what do you got for me? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, and I'm just grateful that we were given this platform, able to interact with Tuna the amount of times that we were able to do that, and just the fact that we were able to, create this community, because I came onto the show about 4 years ago, and it was a growing channel. It was a big channel. But, the difference in the 4 years that I've been here with the amount of real ones, the amount of, we didn't have a Mount Raidermore whenever I first got here. It was just, it was a lot different. And Brandon is kind of one of the, we talk about David's on, Raider on for good reason. We saw Ron going nuts today, Trivan as well. But I would say, if we're talking about founding fathers, everybody, George Washington, I feel like that's, like Raider Ron and the first presidents, that. But I would 1,000% put Brandon Jasper in that founding fathers of, it's like Zahn, Ron. Next, I'd probably go Trivan and Brandon Jasper and Scheffler and Wild One. Those guys really got everything going off with Mount Raidermore and a lot of the fun stuff that we've been able to do here on the show. I'm not even lying. Kristen, Brandon, Zahn, everybody out there, there's probably about five guys and gals who are sitting out on the other side of this wall that probably got their jobs because of y'all, because of the growth that we've had on the channel here, the growth that we've had at Chat Sports with y'all's help on all of our channels, and just being, making sure people are liking the videos and making sure people are interacting and helping us grow. Y'all don't realize the lives that y'all have changed, not only just yes, it's a YouTube show. Yes, we just cover the NFL, cover the Raiders, but, it's real, the impact that you see. We see it in the chat with all these people spamming Tuna. And like I said, on the other, I'm looking at a glass wall right now, and I think about 4 or 5 people have jobs thanks to guys like Brandon Jasper.
And obviously you guys have changed our lives. And, there's a lot of, I always say, when I started here at Chat Sports, we had 4 employees. We have 32 now. We don't take any of the money that anybody sends us, right? It goes all back to being able to create you guys more content. And I can remember when I first started doing this show, I went live once a week. It was Tuesday, and that was the only videos you guys got. Now, shit, man, we pump out. I can't imagine anybody pumps out more content than us. But we do it for y'all because you guys rock with us, and you're just as much as this as we are, I wouldn't be here every day if y'all didn't show up. But you show up, that's what it's about. It's about showing up. That's what friends, family, Raider Nation does. What up, Desi? Well done, Husker. Gotta love to the nation. I mean, Husker, dude, you know, you don't got to do that. But that's what this show does. And it happens all the time. Like, if it happened once in a while, it happens all the time, though. Like, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable how often y'all have each other's back, whether it's literally having somebody's back or throwing up an alley-oop and freaking Nav Man comes in and throws it down. Speaking of the devil, what up, Nav? Even gone from this planet, he has you doing top 5. That's true. I actually don't think I've ever even said top 5 Raiders Report moments before. But you're right, and that's another thing, man. Like, that's craziness. He's just pulling strings up there. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here, and I don't want to get too more banged up. I'm cooked, and I'm sure Brandon would have wanted it that way. Chug, shout out to you, man. Kristen, I'm so sorry for your loss. I promise you, you always have a place here at the Raiders Report. For everybody that participated tonight, shout out to all y'all. I'll be honest, I don't really know who the MVP was. I got to probably go back and do some of the math. I think it's either Ryan Campbell or Raider Ron. If somebody wants to bang right now to close it out, Ron or Ryan, it's yours. That way I don't have to do the math, and just tie goes to the guy who gets it the quickest. Be a hell of a way to end a Tuna show, I'll tell you that. The next time you will see me live, though, is going to be Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Obviously, if any breaking news happens, I'll be here. The Raiders can't trade for Matthew Stafford, so that's not going to happen. Looks like Tuna. I mean, of course, Tuna was the MVP, but I had something that I was going to send to Tuna. You know what, Kristen? I could just send it to you. Do you need a new protein shaker and a Panda Subs bag? There is a little gift inside. Looks like Tuna's going to get the MVP. So, Kristen, I'm going to just send you what I was going to send them. I'm just going to send it to the address that I always send it to. Tuna, I love you, man. I'm out.